Close the doors of your mind. Close the gates of your mind. Close the gates of your palace, your ba'ith, your ahal, your ohel, your tent, your mishkan, your mikdash, your hayikal. The sentient body that you dwell inside, within your 12 cranial nerves, within your 12 melanin centers, within your frontal lobe, where your personality resides, that it may be frontless between your eyes. For today is a day of freedom. Today is a day that Yahuwah has given to us as another shabath, that we may yareh Yahuwah, may fear Yahuwah and keep his keep his commandments, keep his voice, keep his utterance, that we may understand who he is, the one who sits in the highest Shamaim above all gods, above all Allahims, above the 13 Shamaim above all gods, and all man and woman, and all gods and goddesses, Yahuwah Allahim. So today we acknowledge the one who made all the har of the earth, all the nahar and the rivers and streams on the surface of the earth, all the rivers and streams under the earth, and all the rivers and streams that flow from his throne. His debar, as rain and snow come down from Shamaim, so his debar be that goes out of his mouth. It comes to wash and continual washing of the debar by the debar of his Isha, of the earth. And not only the earth, but also his bride, Yasharal and Yehuda, even as a man is in a home and he offers up praise, a halal to Yahuwah, and he rains down rain and snow to wash off his household, that they may present themselves in a righteous and sadaqah manner in a fixed order of a 364-day cycle according to the Shamash, Kukab, and the Yard, that all the stars and the moon may follow the Shamash, that one may understand what it's like to shine in the earth, for he's just like a bridegroom leaving his chamber, and who can hide from the heat? So as we move forward in the or in the light of Yahuwah, for the wicked hate the light, neither come to the sun, so their deeds may be reproved, they may be burned, that they may understand what it's like to be purified in their heart and their mind. So this is the book of Yeshayahu. This is the book of Isaiah, the book of Yeshayahu, chapter 48 and verse 8. The book of Yeshayahu, chapter 48 and verse 8. Yeshayahu, chapter 48 and verse 8. You have never heard and you have never known, right? You never shema. You never listened intellectually to actually intelligently to do anything, to do it with a righteous intent. From of old, your ear has not been open. He said, your ozen, your ear, your right ear has not been open. Why? Because Yahuwah closed your ears, or you closed them yourself. And you know they are moth, but yet you have pleasure in those who don't know it. And therefore you close your ears so Yahuwah won't separate you from them. For I knew that you should surely deal treacherously, so I knew you're going to be ma'al, and you're going to drink from that. And he said, I know you laying sexually with somebody else. I already know that. I already know you committed adultery. That's why Yahuwah says that. That's why he made that in Numbers chapter 5. He said, I already know. And that from birth you were called a rebel. He said, I already know from birth you were an adulterous person. You were an adulterous people. He said, I knew from you was a rebel. I already knew you was rebel. You were a rebel. You were just like Nimrod when they left out of Shinar and they crossed the river and he saw the land of Shem and he went in and invaded. He said, I already knew you was a rebel. I knew you went against Nuwak and his commandments when he told you not to cross the boundaries, and you went across it and you went on ahead and did it. But guess what? For my name's sake, I defer my anger. He said, only reason that he's deferring his anger right now, you see some of it in the world today. He's only deferring it. He only putting out a little bit. He sent his Malaki to shake the earth, but then he said, Yahuwah not in the earthquake. Of course he's not. It's a Malaki. But he sends it to shake the earth for what? So you may hear him again, because you haven't heard him. For my sake, I defer my anger. For the sake of my praise, my halal, I restrain it for you. He said that's the only reason he's doing it. And guess what? That I may cut you off. That I may not cut you off. Behold, I refine you. This is what the whole point. But not as silver. I have tried you in the furnace of affliction. This is all he's a part of his understanding. He's only trying you in the furnace of affliction. How are you going to try you? He got other beings. He got Mustama. He got Autoliv. He got Abunalek. He got Adal. He got Aldi. He got Succubus and Ichabus demons. Right? He got Shaitan. They all got demons at their disposal. And guess what they do? Beelzebub. Guess what? They are all part of his own. That's how he's going to try you. He's going to try you because you got the weapons of Yahuwah. You're supposed to have them. But if you don't use them, he said, I'm going to try you though. Because I need them to whisper in your ear. I want to see you use the bar to get them out of your mind. I need them to come in your life and try to tempt you and try you so you can actually see where you are and your strength level. I need you to go through those things. How you going to go through the furnace of affliction? I need Satan's shaitan right in your face. And they got idols in their heart and their mind. And then I speak to you and they say, these sons of Adam, these men and women have idols in their heart and their mind. I need you to be like that. What's the point? Behold, I refine you, but not as silver. I have tried you in the furnace of affliction for my own sake. For my own sake, I do it. For how should my name be profaned? See, when you have a relationship with Yahuwah, why would you want to profane his name by your conduct and your behavior in the present world in public? The whole point is for you to have the bar so richly induced inside of your consciousness, inside of your 12 cranial nerves, that you may bear fruit every single month. That your love and your haba making be continually, that you may cover a multitude of sins. My kabod I will not give to another. He's not giving his kabod, his name, to another person. So please don't be thinking a whole bunch of people are going to know his name. So if he giving it to you and he giving it to you with a pure heart and mind, even though some people do call on Yahuwah, but they don't call on him with a pure heart and pure mind, and they just hypocrites. But he made you not a hypocrite. So therefore, I want you to be the light of the world, even amongst the people who do call on you. Right? Listen to me, O Yaakov. He said, listen to me, O Yaakov. Why? And Yasharal, whom I have called. Why? He gave him two names. He's like Yaakov, and then Yasharal, whom I have called, because he didn't call everybody in Yaakov. He said, Yasharal, whom I called. There's a reason why he says Yaakov and Yasharal. I am he, Ani-Hua. I am the first, the Rishon, and the last. I am the Aleph and the two. I am the 23. I am the first Aleph, the Aleph, which is strength, and I am the last, which is sign, signature, exit, four corners, totality. My hand, my yad, laid the foundation of the earth. See, this is why people don't believe in Yahuwah Elohim, because they don't believe his name started with a yad, and he laid the foundation of the earth with his right hand. That's why a woman don't want a yad. I don't need no man. Exactly. That's why you don't believe that Yahuwah made the whole earth and the foundations of it with his yad. So therefore, you don't need one. That's why you still 354 days. And you still counting, and you still moving according to it. Matter of fact, you're counting it so well to where nobody can understand what you're saying. You say only you can. And guess what? I am the first and the last. My hand laid the foundation of the earth, and my right hand spread out the Shemayim. He said, I did that with my yard. So I did that. I did the fourth day of creation with my yard. The Shemash, Yard, and the Kukah. I did it with my yard. When I call to them, they stand forth together. That's what a family should do. When Yahuwah calls to you, you should stand forth together. You should be together. But nah, there's division. There's a reason why there's division too. Because people are evil in your family. There's a reason why your family don't believe in Yahuwah Elohim. Because they're evil. Assemble all of you and listen. See, this is the whole point. If you can't do this, you have to assemble everybody and Shema. Not your, he said everybody got their own personal Jerusalem, right? I got my own personal Jerusalem, which we do. We have a Chdshim in the inward parts. But for some reason, everybody got their own personal bank accounts with their own personal Jerusalem, with their own personal understanding and their own personal life. But guess what? Who among them has declared these things? Yahuwah loves him who shall perform his purpose on Babal. On who? On Babal. On Babylon. Why? And his arm against the Chaldeans. Even I have spoken and called him and have brought him, and he will prosper in his way. See, this is the whole point. See, people say, you lost all your possessions and your money and the things that you have. What is prosperity to you? See, that's the whole point. He said, how is that in here? Verse 16, draw near to me, hear this. From the beginning I have not spoken in secret, for the time is came to be, and I have been there. Right? So he says, so why he do that? Because that's the whole point. This is Yeshayahu 55 and 10. Isaiah 55 and 10. Isaiah 55 and 10. Isaiah 55 and 10. Day and night. Oh, actually, yeah, Isaiah 55 and 10. Isaiah 55 and 10. It says, for as rain and snow come down from Shemaim and do not return, but water the earth, he's making it bring forth sprout and giving seed to the sower and bread to the eater. Why? Because that's what happens in this time. The summer, the plants bolt and they produce seed that you may sow. And therefore, being at this time, there is no water. There's a famine in the land. He said, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water. He that believeth on me, as the scripture said, as Turah said, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water. Barak is the man who walketh not in the counsel of the wicked. He should be like a tree planted by the rivers of living water. Guess what? So shall my debar be that goes out of my mouth. It shall not return to me empty, but it shall accomplish what I purpose and shall succeed in the things for which he sent it. That's why he called it. That's what prosperity is for Yahuwah. For the debar to succeed, not for you to have all your riches and money and kabod, which is only for your natural life. It's temporary. But the thing that he wants to succeed is his debar. Right? So it says the 11th yom of the 4th month, 11th day of the 4th month. Look at the 4th of the Aleph, look at the dollars. Look at the door, entranceway, gateway, doorway, portal. Because the sun, Shamash, comes out of the portal. It's like a bridegroom leaving his chamber, and it's hot. It's really hot. And the storms are moving, and everything is now swaying in the wind. And everything's starting to become more prevalent and more, you can see it right there in your face. And if you can't see your behaviors in your face, you can't see your behaviors springing up. They say you're in a fight of your life till you get to the 7th month. You're in a fight of your life. And this is all a part of it. Right? And people's behaviors get erratic around this time. Right? So, this is the book of Psalms, Tehillim 118, 5 through 9. Out of my distress, I called on Yahuwah, right? So out of the distress. And Yahuwah answered me and set me free. So has he set you free? Maybe you need to be distressed a little bit more. Because that's the only way you're going to be set free. You need some more tribulation in your life. Then you'll be set free. And it says, Yahuwah is on my side, and I will not fear. See, this is the whole point. He said, Yahuwah is on my side, I will not fear. What man do to me? What Adam, what man or woman do to me? He said, I don't fear what man and woman can do to me. Why? Yahuwah is on my side as my Azar, my helper. See, everybody think, he said, let Adam, it was not fit that Adam should be alone. You don't know how to find a Azar fit for him. Yahuwah is on my side as my Azar, my helper. He said, I need a helper. He said, Yahuwah is on my side as my helper. Why? Because your helper, your Azar, ain't going to help you. They didn't even help Yahushua on totality when he was riding on the wings of the wind and he would ride on the wings of the wind, and Yahuwah was literally showing you that he was seen riding on the wings of the wind as it was in the beginning, above his Isha. And she wasn't helping him. The only helper he had was Yahuwah Elohim. I shall look in triumph to those who hate me. Why do you think Yahushua in Matthew 27, when he said they looked at him and stared at him the whole time, and they sat there, watched him. That's what his bride, Yasharal and Yehuda did. They watched him and sat there and saying, you who saved others, you can't save yourself? Hey, you helped all these other people, what about you? You're supposed to have all this power, all this atztum, right? And guess what? It is better to take refuge in Yahuwah than to trust in Adam. See, that's the whole point. It's better. It's better to trust, that's what it says in man in that verse, but that word from man is Adam. It is better to take refuge in Yahuwah than to trust in Adam. Why? Why won't you trust in human beings? Because human beings will betray you. Human beings will set you up. Human beings will plot against you. Human beings will lie to you. Human beings will scheme and plot and do things in a covert way. That's why you don't trust in them. That's why you don't put all your strength in them. It is better to take refuge in Yahuwah than to trust in Nagid. See, they use the word Nagid here. Right? I already talked about this before. What was the word for prince when Saul was made anointed to be king over Yasharal? The word for prince was Nagid. That word for prince, when Shemuel had anointed Saul, that word for prince is Nagid. I have anointed you prince over Yasharal. It's better to take refuge in Yahuwah than to trust in Nagid. Nagib. So that word for trust is, in that verse, is katsah, katsah. Katsah, it means to seek refuge. To seek refuge, to flee for protection, to put your trust, to confide in Elohim, to flee for protection, to confide. Right? You see why Dawid was fleeing from Saul. He had to run away from him. He said, better to trust in Yahuwah than to put your confidence in Adam and Nagid, right? He says, so why is that important? This is Psalms 146, 3 through 4. Tahalim, Psalms 146, 3 through 4. Put not your trust in Nagid, that same word. Nagib. He said, don't put your trust in Nagib. In a son of Adam, that word for man, in whom there is no salvation. See, there ain't no salvation in no human being. Human being salvation is temporary. It's all temporary. They help you one time, then they won't help you again. They help you one time, they won't help you again. They won't. When his breath departs, he returns to the earth, and on that very day, his plans perish. So everybody got plans, but that's why he said, don't put your trust in a man that's getting ready to die. Because Yahuwah is living and active. Elohim is the Elohim of the living. He said, you're getting ready to die. You're getting ready to perish. Why would I trust you? Once you die, who am I going to trust? If I put my trust in a person that's getting ready to leave here and die and move, if they die, then where my trust at? In a dead person? In a dead body? Then you'd be worshiping demons. Then you'd be trusting demons after they die, because you ain't got nobody else to trust after they die. Then the only thing left is for you to trust a demon when they die. That's the only thing left for you to do, to trust a shadim. That's it. And that's why people get entrapped with it, because they so entrusting to a human being, they forget about Yahuwah Elohim. That's the whole point. Asher, or happy, is he whose Azar is all of your code, right? That's the whole point. That word for helper is Azar, whose help is the all of your code. Why would he say that? Because he called your code. And Yasharal, his chosen, right? Listen to me. Whose hope is in Yahuwah Elohim, who made the Shamayims and the Adats, right? So you put your hope in a dead man, Muthmuf, who inherited the sins from Adam. How are you going to get eternal life? How are you going to get up from the grave? My mother died, my father died, my son died, my daughter died. And then you can't even function after that. And you have no more trust or hope in Yahuwah Elohim. And then guess what happens? That's why Yahushua said, let the dead bury the dead. Why do you think he said that? Who are you trusting in? I guess you trusting in a dead thing. And guess what? Whose hope is Yahuwah Elohim, who made Shamayims and earth and the sea and all that is in them, who keep faith forever. So you got to keep Amunah forever, or you're going to be Ma'al, treacherous. You know, Ma'al, you're going to break Amunah. Who keeps Amunah forever, faith, belief, forever. That means after everybody perishes, everybody in your household, everybody in your life perishes, everything goes off, and there's nobody left, and it's just you. Who you going to be trusting in? The trees, the animals, the soil, the sun, the moon, the stars, your radio, your 12 gig radio. You going to be trusting in that? You're going to trust in this clouds. It's going to rain for me today. No. And guess what? Who executes justice for the oppressed. Who gives food to the hungry. That's the whole point. That's why you want to trust Yahuwah. He's going to execute judgment for the oppressed and give food to the hungry. Who's going to give you your food? Who gave your Qahalath food when he needed to go on a long journey? Who gave him that food? Who gave the shade to Yuna? Who did that? Who provided the food for Yasharal when he came out of the wilderness? Came out of Mizraim, out of Ham. Who did that? You did it? But then guess what they stopped doing? They stopped trusting Yahuwah. And then they wanted to go back and worship the demons that Yahuwah just got them free from. Right, so that word for trust in there is batak. Batak. Ba'ith, tit, and kaf. It means to trust in, to cause to trust, to make secure, to feel safe, to be careless, right? Because you're now careless because you cast all your cares on Yahuwah. Trust, to be confident, sure, right? To be confident, bold. He said, you ain't bold in your speech. You haven't gotten bold yet. He said, you ain't that bold. You ain't bold like that yet. You still got to grow up into boldness. That's real bold to say exactly because you haven't grown up yet. You got to grow up to bold and be bold. To put confidence. To make trust. What does that got to do with anything? It has everything to do with it. Right, so this is Yeshayahu chapter 43, 8 through 12. Bring out the people who are blind, because everybody can't see. He said, bring out the people who are blind, yet have eyes. You got two eyes. You got eyes, but you still blind. Who are deaf, yet have ears. You got ears and you deaf. You can't even hear. You got two eyes and you deaf. Why? Because that's why he said in James, he said, behold, he said, going to James chapter 1. Going to James chapter 1. The book of James chapter 1. The book of Jacob, James chapter 1, verse 23. James chapter 1, verse 23. For if anyone is a hearer of the debar and not a doer, so you can hear this all you want. Shema, I can hear it, but if you don't do anything, he or she is like a man or a woman who looks intently at his natural face in the mirror. You see your two eyes? You see your two ears, but you can't hear and you can't see. For he looks at himself and goes away at once, forgets what he was like. But the one who looks into the perfect Torah, the law of liberty, or you mean become free. We just read that. You become free. You become free because you trust in Yahuwah. You but talk in Yahuwah. Who becomes free. Guess what happens? But the one who looks in the perfect law, the law of liberty and preserve, it says, For he looks at himself and goes away and at once forget what he was like. But the one who looks in the perfect Torah and looks in the law of liberty and perseveres, being no hearer who forgets, but a doer who acts, he will be baraked in his doing. He said, you're going to be baraked. All right, going back to Yeshayahu 43 and 10. Actually, Yeshayahu 43 and 8. Bring out the people who are blind, yet have eyes, and who are deaf, and yet have ears. All nations gather together, and the people assemble. We just read that too. And guess what happens? Who among them can declare this? Who among you can do this? And show us the former things. Can you show me the former things? Let them bring their witnesses to prove them right, or sadak. That word for right is sadak. Let them prove themselves to be sadak. Because can you do that? Can you declare the things of old? When you put under pressure, you have to give an account for the hope that's within you. Do you fall under pressure? Or do you actually show forth your witnesses to prove you still sadak out of your mouth? Because that's the whole point. And let them hear and say, it is true, or amath, it is true. Let them hear it. Because what's the point of you being in the world? You're the or of the world. The commandments of that, and the teaching is or, and correction and reproof is a way of life, and you don't speak anything out of your mouth. You're not light. You're not a moth. You're not the truth manifested in the flesh. In present reality. Outside. Among the goyim. Verse 10, you are my witnesses. See, that's the whole point. You are my witnesses. Declares Yahuwah, and my abad, my servant. Who is the servant? If you're a witness and you are Yahuwah's abad, who is Yahuwah's abad? Adam. And he put Adam in the Gan to do what? To abad and shamar it. You are Adam. You are a witness of who? You are my witnesses, declares Yahuwah. Of who? Of Yahuwah. You are the witnesses in the earth, whom I have chosen. So are you chosen? Now you may know and believe, oh, you ain't gonna faint. You're gonna continue to believe what? Believe me and understand that I am he. That's the whole point. Before me, no God was formed, nor shall there be any after me when he come back here. And guess what? I am Yahuwah. And besides me, there is no Savior. So who do you trust? I declared and saved and proclaimed when there was no strange God among you. So do you got any strange gods among you? Which means you still blind and deaf. You still worship Beelzebub. You still fast for Beelzebub. You still fast for Mastama. You fast for the Ruach Kinah. And you are my witnesses, declares Yahuwah, and I am Elohim, right? That's the whole point. So that word for former things is Rishon. He said, what? All the nations gathered together and the peoples assemble. Who among them can declare this and show former things? That word for former things is Rishon. To what? Declare the first. Who can do that? The former, primary, the first, time or rank, ancestor, the beginning, the eldest, the formal, the old. Who can do that? Can you do that? On the first day, what did he do? He said, Ruach Marakaf al Panim, moved upon the face of the waters, in the dark waters, because it was darkness over the face of the deep. And he said, Ruach Marakaf al Panim. And Elohim said, what? Or Ahaya. He said, let there be light, and there was light. And it came to be. It was nothing but Tohu and Bohu. It was full of demons. And darkness. Goat demons, as Yeshayahu writes. It was full of goat demons. Succubus and Ichabus demons. Female social sexual groups. Then Yahuwah said, let there be Or, and he scattered them. That's the whole point. It's all a part of it. And guess what? Right, so that word for witnesses is aid, and you got to see it. And it started with an iron too, because you got to see, because we just talked about bring forth the blind who do not hear, blind who can't see, and the blunt and the ears that it can't hear. Because you got to see it. The witness is aid, odd. It started with an iron, aid. It's witness, testimony. A witness, and you have to see it. A recorder, a prince, a witness, a witness, a witness. So are you a witness? You know how you witnessing a crime? I seen this happen, and this happened, and that happened. I was standing there at such and such time, maybe from the 6th to the 9th hour, maybe 3rd hour I saw him going to court, but I saw the sun go down to the 6th to the 9th hour. And then I was actually with him before Yehuda came and grabbed him out when he crossed the brook, Nakalak Kudrum. And I was there early in the sepulchre because I'm a virtuous Kayil woman. I like to rise before the sunrise. And I like to have my lamp continually burning. And I was there too. So you think she wasn't a witness either? You know, they say, and you are my witnesses. So you think that witness ain't had to tell her story about how she came to the sepulchre and she saw Malachi ascending down and the earth shook? You think she ain't had to tell that actual story? So you telling me you don't want nobody to be saved because you don't want nobody to believe the vision. And you and Isha, and you don't want nobody to know that. You want to be silent. You don't want nobody to know that because you ain't a witness. Because you know why? Because you don't want to be that in the world. You don't want to be the light. You don't want to be persecuted. You don't want nobody to see that you have that understanding on the inside of you, so you hide and duck from the very responsibility in the earth. Right? So that he said what? A recorder. So you know what people do? They record other people's stuff, but they don't want to record themselves and show themselves who they are in the light of the world. They want to record everybody else though. He said, how about you record that and proclaim Yahushua Mashiach to the world? How about you be that ore and that light that you know you are? But what does hinder you that you do not obey the Yamah? What hindering you? Is it money? Is it the cares of this life? The deceitfulness of riches that choke to the bar and make you not be fruitful? It must be that. Right? So that word for chosen is bakar. It means to choose, to elect, to decide for. So you are chosen. Bakar. And it starts with it has a kaf. When you talking about no bakar in the morning, we talking about bakar, right? Chosen, to decide for, elect, to be chosen, to try. See, when you are chosen, Satan comes to try you. Shaitan coming to try you. Why do you think he sets up so many plots and schemes and traps? Because he's coming to try you. If you are chosen generation, a royal Kahan, a Kudash nation, a peculiar people, a treasure, to show forth the halal of him who called you out of darkness into this marvelous ore, this light, this teaching, this ore, then guess what happens? Satan's coming to try you because you are chosen. To select, acceptable, appoint, required, excellent, right? So that word for, he says, whom I have chosen, right? Because you are Aydah. You're supposed to be Aydah, and you're supposed to see it too. But guess what he said? Whom I have chosen, that you may know and believe and understand that I am he. Why? Because that's all he is. He said, a theme, A-D. Na'am Yahuwah, right? Na'am Yahuwah, right? When you skip over, Ani Yahuwah. I am he. Ani Yahuwah. I am he. Ani Yahuwah. I am he. What do you mean, I am he? That word for Hua is Hua, right? And that word for he is Hua. It means he or she. That's why I told you, you was at the sepulchre early in the morning, you should be telling your testimony. You were there. You saw visions of Malachi. So you ain't gonna tell your vision? You ain't gonna tell your Kazum? You were there. Woman. He said, but they don't want to open their mouth and speak. He said, why you were there? You know why you were there. You should already know. He said, Barak you who have not seen but still believe. You should already know why you were there. You should already know why you were there and why you were there at night. Why you were there before the sunrise. Because there are things that are supposed to be ruled by day and right night. You should already know these things. So then you can therefore proclaim them. How is he going to know Yahuwah in the earth again? Who is he? I am he. I need Yahuwah. Why do we think Yahuwah is Yahuwah, all male and female, man and woman? Why do he say Zakar Nakabah? Let me make Adam in my own image, my own likeness. Why do you think he did that for you? He's trying to show you to open your mouth and speak. Who are you? He said, what got you bound in chains within your heart and your mind? What has you locked away within yourself? Is your childhood? Is it the things that happened to you? Is it your trauma? Is it the people that done wrong to you in your life? Is that what got you bound? Is it your curiosity in other matters, unnecessary? What is it? People say you have to decide for yourself. This Bereshit chapter 25, 19 through 27. These are the generations of Yitzhak, Abraham's son. Abraham fathered Yitzhak. Yitzhak was 40 years old when he took Rebekah. So he was 40 years old. He was 40 years old. He said, why did he wait till he was 40 years old? Because there's a whole point of waiting until 40 years. What equals a 40 in the alphabet? You got the Yod is 10, the Kaf is 20, the Lamed is 30, and the Meme is 40. What's Meme mean? Water, spring, fountain, semen. It all moves that way. And guess what? What you do when you take an Isha? And when he took Rebecca, the daughter of Bethuel, the Armenian of Panaram, the sister of Laban, the Armenian, to be his Isha. And Yitzhak prayed for Yahuwah for his Isha because she was barren. What do you think he was doing? He got married at 40. He was meme the whole time trying to create. As rain and snow come down from Shamayim, what do you think meme is? It's water. It's seed. It's like semen. And guess what? Because she was barren. He said, you were barren. He prayed for her because the prayer of a righteous man availeth much. It do. Yahuwah granted his prayer. See, that's the whole point. He ain't had to, though. She must have had no sin inside of her. She must have in right standings with Yahuwah, because that's the only way he's going to make her barren. If she was misbehaving herself, he's going to make you barren. No matter how much seed you sow inside of a person. If you are rebellious and hard-headed, he's not. But guess what? And Rebecca, his wife, conceived. That's the only way. And the children struggle within her. She said the children struggle within her. And she said, if it is thus, why is this happening to me? She's like, what is going on inside of me? Why are they moving around so much? So she went to inquire of Yahuwah. She went to go inquire of who? And Yahuwah said to her, 2 nations are in your womb. How did the people inquire in times past of Yahuwah? They would go either to Shemuel, Huldah, Deborah. They would go to Shem. They would go to a certain person. See, 2 nations are in your womb, and 2 peoples are within you shall be divided. See, this is the whole point. That's the reason why your house divided. He said, a house divided against itself shall not stand. That's why people's beliefs are off. He said, it's divided. The whole Ba'is, the house is divided. There's not going to stand. I don't care how much knowledge be not, how much the author you got. I don't care how much you have, your house, it's not going to stand. That's why you're going to tear it apart. The one shall be stronger than the other. He said the one shall be stronger than the other. That's the whole point. And the older shall serve the younger. He said the older going to serve the younger. That's what's going to happen to you. That's why people say, why would an older person have to serve a younger person? Why would an older woman have to be under a younger woman? Because the older woman don't do what she's supposed to do. And the younger woman does. And then you know what happens when that happens? Fighting, quarreling, jealousy, envy. Because they not humble. They knew. Then Yahuwah going to plague even more until it happens. And guess what? And the one shall be stronger than the other, and the older shall serve the younger. And when her days to give birth were completed, behold, there were 2 twins in her womb. He said there were 2 twins in her womb. 2 of them. What do twins look like? Similar looking people, DNA, facial features. But little things that are making them different from each other because they look the same, kind of, but they have the same facial features a little bit. And they kind of don't look, one looks the same, but they don't look exactly the same, though. The first came out red. All his body was a hairy cloak, because that's what Asu name means. So his name was called Asu. What does his name mean? It was hairy. And he was red. He was a tone, Adam. He was like that color. But he still looked like Jacob a little bit, but not really all the way though, in the facial features, because they were twins. And after his brother came out with his yard, holding his what? Holding a suit. He came out with his what? His yard. I told you, how in the world how you gonna get eternal life and you don't believe Yahuwah's name start with a yard? He literally grabbed a suit with his yard, his right hand. He grabbed him with his yard. And he grabbed Asu's heel. He grabbed his heel with his yard. So how you gonna get out? How you gonna get out? How you gonna be born again? If you can't use your yard to get out. You don't even believe Yahuwah's name start with a yard. How you gonna get out? Because how did he lead Yasharal out of Mizraim? With his yard, his hand. And once you grab that yard, then guess what happens? He can take you out of Mizraim. So his name was called Yaakov. Yitzhak was 60 years old when she bore them. That's 20 years of her not being able to get pregnant. So he married her at 40. And he'd been sowing seed for 20 years. And you know what happened? She still didn't conceive. It took her 20 years for Yahuwah to say, you know what, you ready to have a child. Because at other time, you wasn't. Think about it. You was not ready to birth Jacob and Esau until 20 years later. So where your trust at? Where your trust? That's the whole point. 20 years later. And guess what it says? Guess what it says? And when the boys grew up, Asu was a skillful hunter. He said, and then they had to grow up. So that means she had to wait 20 years. You know how the world done programmed you. Satan done took over people's mind. He got people not even believing they can even live long. I mean, you only gonna live to about 50. You only gonna live to about 45. You better live it up and do it up. You better do all you can. Life is real short. They done messed your head up. Because as a man or woman thinks, so is he. You done messed your mind up to all this sin in the world, and now you can't even function and thinking that you got to do this, this, and this, and that, because your trust ain't in Yahuwah no more. It's in the world. And he got your thought process up. He said, I have the mind, the soul, and their actions every single day. And they will never move from their understanding. And guess what? And when the boys grew up, Asu was a skillful hunter and a man of the field, while Yaakov was a quiet man dwelling in tents. He said he was a quiet man living at home in the tent. And guess what? But Asu was a skillful hunter, a man of the field. Why? Because that was what you call masculine energy. You got masculine energy, and then you got feminine energy where Yaakov was in the house, dwelling in the house, and you have masculine energy, a hunter, and chasing down a man of the field. You had two different natures, male and female, man and woman. Two different. But guess what? And Yitzhak loved Asu because he ate his game. He's like, man, Asu be killing them animals and feeding me that animal flesh. And he would bring me food anything he do, man, that thing he goes and chases it down. But Rebecca loved Yaakov. Rebecca loved Yaakov, even after 20 years of waiting. But each one got what they wanted. Yitzhak got his, was Asu, and Rebecca got Yaakov after 20 years of waiting. But guess what? So that word for twins is ta'on. Ta'on. Two aleph wu and meme. Ta'on. It means twins, a twin. Ta'on. Well, that word for heel in this verse is that after his brother came out, his body with his yard holding Asu's heel. This is the whole point of this whole thing. His heel, it means what? A cave, a cob. It means what? Heel, rear, footprint. He grabbed it with his yard. His footsteps, he grabbed it with his yard. Mark of a heel, footprint, hence a track, a rear, a hoof, a footstep. Means, again what it says, it also means protuberant. Protuberant. He did what? He lied a heel, a liar in wait. That's what he's a heel catcher. He used his yard to catch Esau's heel. He bruised his heel. He bruised his heel. It also means an army. Hinder part, rear. Why is that important? Right, this is the book of Bereshith, Genesis chapter 3 and verse 1. Genesis chapter 3 and verse 14. Genesis chapter 3 verse 14. And Yahuwah said to the Nakash, because you have done this, cursed are you above all livestock and above all beasts of the field. On your belly you shall go, and dust you shall eat all the days of your life. And I will put enmity between you and the woman. What do you mean, hatred? And between your offspring, right, and her offspring, and he shall bruise your head. Woman, and you shall bruise his heel. Now you see why Rebecca loved Jacob. She loved Jacob. She loved Jacob. Right, so this is the book of, and this is the whole point of this, right? So this is the book of Yeshayahu. This is the book of Yeshayahu. This is the book of Yeshayahu. Yeah. Yeshayahu chapter 52 and verse. Yeshayahu 52 and 11. Yeshayahu 52 and 11. Yeshayahu, Isaiah 52 and 11. Depart, go out from here, touch no unclean thing. Go out from the midst of her, purify yourselves. And guess what? You who bear the vessels of Yahuwah. He said, you bear the vessels of Yahuwah. For you shall not go out in haste, and you shall not go in flight. For Yahuwah will be with you, will go before you. And the Elohim of Yasharah will be your rear guard. Because you're going to need somebody to guard your back and your rear guard. When you're dealing with a bunch of a cob, you're going to need them. You're going to need them. But this is the whole point of this. A cob. And you got to see it too. It's with an iron too. You have to see it. You have to see this. Because if you can't see this, he said, bring forth those who got eyes they can't see. Because you have to see this. So that word for protuberant is objective meaning that means bulging, swelling, or sticking out beyond the surrounding surface. Bulging or swelling again. Here go that bulging and swelling again. That bulging and swelling again. Here it comes again. He says, so why is this important? Because it's all a part of it. Right, so that word for Jacob, that word for Jacob is Jacob. It means heel holder. That's why they call him that. He's a heel holder. That's why Rebecca loved him. Man, he said he gonna bruise his heel, huh? And that's the whole point. That's the whole point. It means supplanter. Because everybody always trying to do better than somebody else. Competition. Competition. That's all it is. It's always going to be a competition. And these are all things that cause people to have behaviors that they should not have in the body of Mashiach. Because everybody always trying to outdo somebody else. I'm more righteous than you. I'm more loving and caring than you. I'm more kind than you. I have more money than you. I'm more successful than you. Why do you have that and I don't? That's the whole point. It creates that. I should be the leader and not you. I have more sense. You don't. Heel holder, supplant it. Heel catcher. Heel catcher. It means often, guess what it says? It means supplanter. Supplanter is someone or something that takes the place of another person. How you say destiny swappers. It also often using force, right? People use force, they use violence. They use force and violence. They punch you in the face, smack you. They try to get all that, supplant you. Right? That's the whole point. Trickery. They use trickery and underhanded tactics. They underhanded. He said, you underhanded tactics. And guess what? It describes a person or entity that usurps a position like a thalia. He says, usurps position, a role or property displacing the original holder. They displaced you. That's why he says it's better to dwell on a rooftop than with a quarreling and contentious wife in a wide house. Because she's trying to supplant you. She's a heel catcher. She's bruising your heel. That's what it's called. Why do you think Yahushua's a little talented? It's better to dwell on the rooftop than with a foolish, contentious woman. You don't hear all they saying about you? Come down from the cross. We'll believe in you. And that's the whole point. That's why they were doing it to him. That's why you say, what will make a man be with a woman who punch him in the face and beat him up? And he can't do nothing. But go on the rooftop on his house. Or go on and be on the totality on the cross. Yahushua Mashiach. Because had not Yahushua done it, he say, I assure you, none of this will even be possible. That's what people say. It won't even be possible for a man to endure that. It won't. Had Yahushua Mashiach not done it, man will be condemned if you don't do it. You're going to be condemned because he did it. He said, I'm not like Yahushua Mashiach. You're not like him. He say, man, he say, Isha Nashim, you really have no idea. Because you're still blind in your mind. He say, underhanded tactics, trickery, often by using force. Amazingly, how did they try to get Yahushua from a position? They got the band of soldiers and the officers they got from the chief priest. They called the police. That's how they get you out of your position. They usurp your position. That's why he say he'll catch you. He's named your code. He said, man, you better watch out for your code. Because remember, he said, Yasharal, whom I chosen, though. Your code, though, you got to watch yourself. His name means he'll catch you. He said, are you still your code or are you Yasharal? Are you the 12 tribes? Because a lot of Ish and Ishas are still your code. They still are. Right, it's the book of Midbar, Numbers, chapter 5, verse 21. Why? Because you just talked about a thing swelling. That's what prostrate means, right? It means to swell. It's the very same thing. Numbers chapter 5, 21 through 22. Then the priest make the woman take the oath of the curse and say to the woman, Yahuwah make a curse on and an oath among your people, then Yahuwah makes your thigh fall away and your body swell. May this water that brings the curse pass into your bowels and make your wounds swell. because you're practicing underhanded things and using trickery. Because he's trying to catch you. He said, I'm trying to catch you, though. He said, you think you're intelligent. He said, I'm trying to catch you, though. He said, you bruised my heel, but guess what I'm not? He said, now I'm trying to catch you with my yard. Now I'm trying to catch you. Because that's what happens. You create a dual thing. Like, you do something underhanded. You do something that, like your cold heel catching. And you start doing underhanded things and trickery to remove somebody from a position or authority. And you take on somebody else's authority and you start to use trickery and you heel catch and you bruise his heel. And guess what? Then the other person now becomes that person now trying to bruise your heel and trying to catch you. It creates a back and forth thing. Now he got to use some way to catch you in your act and what you did. Then you have rivalries and quarreling. It's on that dimensional level. And guess what? And the woman shall say, Amen, Amen. You got to agree. He said, I don't want to agree. He said, and the woman shall say, Amen, Amen. Why you think Yasharal and Yehuda? Why you think Yehuda had two brides? Yasharal and Yehuda? Amen, Amen. May this water that brings a curse pass into your bowels, and may your wounds swell and your thigh fall away. Right, we just talked about rain and snow coming down from Shemayim. He's going to prosper in all his ways. So that word for swell is sabah. It means to swell. The adulterous belly. He said, you're an adulterous belly. It swells. Adulterous belly. Now you see why you like your cold. He's like, man, you're cold. You got the adulterous belly. He said, why has that got anything to do with it? It means to what? Amass, to grow turgid, to array, an army to fight against. Didn't heel catcher mean that too? Mr. Yaakov himself? But you're an aid, though. You're a witness. You're going to fight. Why do you think he says that these things fight in your womb? They are warring with, it's two nations in your womb. There's two of them in there. He says an army, my stomach doesn't swell. You know how your stomach doesn't swell when you get pregnant? Your stomach doesn't swell, and guess what? There's something else in there that ain't supposed to be in there. What is that? What is happening to me? The elder gonna serve the younger though. And guess what? Turgid describes something that is swollen, bloated, or dissented, typically by fluids. And guess what? It is used both literally as swollen tissue plants full of water, metaphorically bloated, inflated, right? So this is the book of Bereshit, Genesis chapter 25, 29 through 34. Bereshit, Genesis chapter 25, 29 to 34. Once when Yaakov was cooking stew, a Sioux came in from the field. You know how it is. He came in from the field. A Sioux, Yaakov was a cooker. He was like a chef. Yaakov was his imam, his mother, and he was cooking food with her in the house because that's what he was like. He was like the chef in the house because she would help. He was a mother's helper. He would help her mother. Well, his father was like, man, go hunt that thing while he be in the house cooking. It ain't homosexual. You know how they say metrosexual, all this stupid stuff they come up with? All this crazy stuff they come up with. Like if you do that, you're not a man if you cook. All this crazy stuff. But that's the whole point. That's what Satan, Shaitan started doing in people's mind. But anyway. And Asu said to Yaakov, let me eat some of the red stew. He's like, man, let me eat some of that food you cook. Let me eat some of that, for I am exhausted. See, when you dealing with a Yaakov, a heel catcher, when you dealing with him, you know what happens to you? They cut a cave or a cob. You know what happens to you? You got to watch yourself. Even when you're tired. When you get exhausted, you're going to need to watch yourself. Let me eat some of your red stew, for I am exhausted. Therefore his name was called Edom. Because he's talking about red lentils. Jacob said, sell me your birthright now. Esau said, I'm about to die. See? He said, I'm about to die. That's the whole point. Even when you're exhausted and about to die, you better make sure you guard your heart and your mind from a cob or your cold. You got to make sure you guard your mind for these heel catchers, these underhanded people. To remove somebody from their authority, you got to really watch yourself. But it has a dual meaning too. He said, I'm about to die. And what is this birthright to me? He's like, man, I'm exhausted and I'm about to die. What is this birthright to me? Guess what? Jacob said, swear to me now. So he swore to him and sold his birthright to Jacob. And then Jacob gave Esau lakam and lentil stew, and he ate and drank and rose and went his way. Then Esau despised his birthright because he tricked him. But he was exhausted and faint. He was exhausted. So that word for exhausted is AF. AF. And guess what? You have to see this too. It starts with an iron. AF. It means faint, exhausted, weary. The language, faint, thirsty, weary. Why? Why would you sell your birthright? Because you're hungry and thirsty. When you know you're dealing with your cold. Because that's all they're waiting for is for you to get faint. Right? This is Yeshayahu chapter 40, 27 to 31. Why do you say Jacob and speak Yasharal? Because you know Jacob, at first man Adam, was a man of the dust and the flesh. The second Adam was a life-giving Ruach. So which one are you? Are you Jacob or are you Yasharal? Because Yasharal, why do you say Jacob? Why do you say Jacob and speak Yasharal? Which one are you? Because you got to be both Adam and a speaking Ruach in the world. You got to be the second Adam is a speaking Ruach. So if you don't speak, you're a witness of Yahushua Mashiach who rose from the grave. You are Aydah. You are. But yet, which one are you? Are you the one that speaks? Because in Aramaic targums, it said that he gave Adam a speaking Ruach to give sight to the eyes and hearing to the ears. He gave him that light. So which one are you? My way is hidden from Yahuwah, and my right hand is disregarded by Elohim. My Elohim? Is that the reason why you say that? Is that the reason why you say Jacob and speak Yasharal? Is that the reason? Because you know why? He says, my way is hidden from Yahuwah. Is my way hidden from Yahuwah, and my right hand is disregarded by my Elohim? Because you know what happens when you have a yod? You have a right hand. Is it disregarded by my Elohim? Because you know you're doing an underhanded thing you're using your code. You're doing an underhanded plot and scheme when you starting to. That's why he said Yasharal speak, because you're doing an underhanded thing. He said, what's going on? Have you not known? So have you not known this? Have you not heard? Yahuwah is an everlasting Elohim. Who do you trust? Because Esau trusted Jacob, and he despised his birthright. Because Yahuwah, we just read in the book of Yeshayahu, he's to bring forth the ones who got eyes they can't see and ears they can't hear. And he talks about giving bread as food to the hungry. So who do you trust? Yahuwah is an everlasting Elohim, the creator of the end of the earth. He does not faint or grow weary. His understanding is unsearchable. So what happened to Esau? He lost his birthright because he got faint and exhausted, and he was in the field doing all these things, and then Jacob underhanded him right there. He akabbed him. He literally underhanded him. He'll catch him. And guess what? He gives power to the faint. That's why he said, man shall not live by bread alone, but every debar that proceeds from the mouth of Yahuwah. So when he was faint, had he trusted and had the debar, he would have never happened. He would have never lost his birthright. But he trusted in Jacob. that he'll catch you. But there's a reason why. And he said, so who are you? He does not faint or grow weary. His understanding is unsearchable. He gives power to the faint. And to him who has no might, he increases strength. And see, this is the whole point. Asu, have you ever been to a point where you lost strength and you felt like you faint in your mind? So guess what? Guess what, Asu? Because you Asu. You are Asu. Because you do get faint and you do get tired. But guess what it says? Every youth shall faint and be weary, and young men shall fall exhausted. And then what happened to Asu? He was tired. But they who wait for Yahuwah shall renew their strength. Why do you think he gave him red lentils? You're not redeemed with corruptible things of silver and gold, but the precious blood of Yahushua Mashiach. It's red. It's dumb. Why do you think he gave him red lentils? Because he's trying to renew your strength. Why do you think I pierced him out? I came blood and water. He said, I'm trying to renew your strength with the moon. Because you faint in your mind because you don't believe Yahuwah's name started with a yod. You don't believe his son's name started with a yod. You don't believe Yahuwah is salvation. And you don't believe that Yaakov grabbed the yod, with his yod grabbed the akab of Asu. And what? It means supplanter. Why he supplanted? How did he supplant you? How did he supplant? Because Asu was about to die. And he gave him red lentils. Why do you think they gave Yahushua bitter wine? He was about to die. He said, man, I'm exhausted and faint. I'm thirsty. But it was bitter though. It was an underhanded thing. It was an underhanded thing to remove somebody from their position and authority. Underhanded. You're cold. You gotta wash your code. He give you sour wine when you're thirsty. For what? For they who wait for Yahuwah shall renew their strength. That's what Asu didn't do. That's what he didn't do. They shall mount up with wings like eagles, Nitzar, and they shall run and not be weary. That's what happened to Asu. Then they shall walk and not faint. So what's the whole point of this? Right, this is the pseudepigrapha, Book of Jubilees, chapter 19, 16 through 31. And Abraham saw the deeds of Asu. This is why he was growing weary and fainting. Because he had some deeds that he was doing, and it was evil. And guess what? And he knew that Yaakov should his name and should carry his name and his seed be called. He knew Yaakov should his name or carry his name and seed be called. And he called Rebekah and gave commandment regarding Yaakov. For he knew that she too loved Yaakov much more than Asu. And he said to her, he said, I saw your deeds. He said, what? He said, I saw your deeds. Right, so this is the 1 Corinthians. He said, so why is this important? He said, why is this important? Right, this is 1 Corinthians chapter 11. 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 12. 2 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 12. 2 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 12. 2 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 12. What I am doing, I will continue to do, in order to undermine the claim of those who would like to claim in their boasted mission the work on the same terms as we do. He just said, I'm gonna get cold, I'm gonna supplant you. That's what your cold name means. It called me, it means supplant. I'm gonna supplant you. Because everybody always trying to undermine somebody, to underhand it and remove somebody from their position and authority and take something from them that don't belong to them. And guess what he says? For such men are false shalakim. Abraham said, I saw the deeds of Asu. I saw the deeds. Deceitful workmen disguising themselves as the shalakim of Mashiach. He said, I saw the deeds of Asu. And no wonder, for even Shaitan disguises himself as a malak of light. He said, I saw you. So it is no surprise if his servants also disguise themselves as servants of righteousness, but their end will correspond to their deeds. What you do? Going back to Jubilee, Pseudepigrapha, chapter 19, 16 to 31. And Abraham saw the deeds of Esau, and he knew that in Jacob should his name and his seed be called. And he called Rebekah and gave commandment regarding Jacob, for he knew that she too loved Jacob much more than Esau. And he said unto her, my daughter, watch over my son Jacob. Notice how the father still calling the son his son. That's from his other son, my son. That's the same thing Yahuwah do with you. Watch over my son of your code. And he's telling his daughter to do that. See, that's what you need to be understanding about Yahushua Mashiach. Woman, my daughter, watch over my son, your code. Because the father telling a daughter to watch over, the father telling the wife of his son, Yitzhak, to watch over her son, Yaakov. Well, the father's son, Yaakov. So you think a child that comes from out of your womb is your son? If you are in the image and likeness of Yahuwah, that's Yahuwah's son. That's Yahuwah's son. And he said, watch over my son. Why do you think the woman was at the scepter? Because they were watching, because it was a night of much watching, was it not? Because every night when the sun goes down, it's a night of much watching. You're supposed to die daily. And they were at the sepulchre before the sun came up. And then you don't want to be a witness, though. You don't want to be a witness of these things. You don't want to tell nobody. My daughter, watch over my son Yaakov, for he shall be in my steed on the Adats. Why do you think Yahushua coming back to? What do you think he coming to do? He gonna be in Yahuwah's steed on the Adats, and you need to be telling. Why won't you tell nobody? Why are you not watching over these things? It's not a must. Why you must shamar this, observe it. And guess what? For a barak is in the midst of in the midst of the children of Adam. If you have it, if they have this understanding, that's a barak to the world. Why do you think he's told Abraham, and you'll see, shall all the nations of the earth be barak? You are in the midst of the earth. You're the light of the world. You're supposed to be that being. And for the kabod of the whole seed of Shem. So what seed are you from? I'm from the seed of my mother, a Hittite, and my father, an Amorite, who didn't teach me any Torah. So that's your seed. He said, you are the seed of Shem. For I know that Yahuwah will choose him to be a people for possession unto himself. Yaakov, above all peoples that are upon the Pinim, the face of the Adas, on the surface of the earth. So therefore, that's why he had 12 gates. Why do you think Yahushua, why didn't he have 12 gates? Why do you think he had 12 foundations? Why do you think he got 12 pearls, and 12 shalakim, and 12 thrones? Going to judge the 12 tribes. 3 to the north, 3 to the south, 3 to the east, and 3 to the west. In the 4 corners. Why do you think you got 4 transition times on the 364-day cycle? Why do you think you got 4 corners under your garments? Why do you think on the 4th day he said, let there be lights in the Shamayim in the earth? Give my or, gadol, my or, my go, it be chandeliers. You ever seen a chandelier? He's telling you that's what you are. And guess what? For I know that Yahuwah will choose him to be a people for possession, let me get out here, unto himself above all peoples that are upon the face of the earth. And behold, Yitzhak, my son, loves Esau more than Yaakov. But I see that thou truly lovest Yaakov. And still further to thy kindness to him. And let thine eyes be upon him in love, Ahaba. For he shall be a barak unto us on the earth from henceforth unto all generations of the earth. See, this is the whole point. He's talking about a supplanter. You talking about your code? He'll catch you. Let thy hand be strong and let thy heart rejoice in thy son, your code. He said, rejoice in the son, your code. You mean rejoice in the son of Yahuwah himself. And watch over him, because where he at? For I have loved him far above all my sons. See, all the sons that Yahuwah had. How many sons Yahuwah? Yahuwah got many sons of Allah. He had Malachim. He had Garba'al, Uriel, Raphael, Nariel, Sarapha'al. But he got a whole bunch of Allahims and sons of Allahim. But he said, I got one son that sit at my right hand. I got one son. I got a son that sit at my yard, my right hand. And guess what? For I have loved him be far beyond all my sons. So do you love this son be above all your sons? Or you know what? I love my son more than I love Yahuwah's son. That's what happens. That's why Yahushua said, he that loves mother, father, sister, brother, son, or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. He said, I don't want to be I don't want your second love. Ahaba. No. And he shall be Barak forever, and his seed shall fill the whole earth. And what do you think his seed is supposed to do in the whole earth? What did he say? The seed is the word. That's what he said, the bar. So his understanding, Amunah come by hearing, and hearing by your words of Yahushua Mashiach, is supposed to go out into the world as a seed that's being sown. So if you're not sowing seed into the world about it, then guess what happens? His seed can't go in the world. And it says, if a man can number the sand of the sea, his seed shall be numbered. Can you number all the sand of the sea? No. Right? Skipping over to going to 1631. And all the Barak wherewith Yahuwah has Barak me, and my seed shall belong to Yaakov, and his seed always. You know, they said, I don't believe in the 12 tribes. I don't believe I'm on the tribe of Yehuda. I don't believe I'm Yehudi. I don't believe it. And in his seed shall my name be Barak. And the name of my father Shem, and Noah, and Nuach, and Hanuk, and Mahaliel, and Enos, and Shath, and Aydah. In my name, in the name of my fathers, so Abraham is literally saying his fathers are Shem, Nuach, Hanuk, and Mahaliel, and Hanus, and Shath, and Aydah. So who yours? How far you go? He said, who can declare the things of old? Let them bring forth your witnesses. You can declare the former things? Where your witnesses at? And guess what? And these shall serve to lay the foundations of the Shamayim. Now you see why he said there are 12 foundations. Why is Adam, Shath, Enos, Mahaliel, Hanuk, Nuach, and Shem being used to lay the foundations of the Shamayim? And you know what people use in other people's? Who are the people you're supposed to use? And to strengthen the earth. So how are you going to strengthen the feminine nature of the earth? All I'm doing is strengthening the feminine nature of the earth, because Yahuwah so loved the Aydahchay, so he gave his only son, his teaching, that it may be seed in the earth. How you think all of the plants grew on the third day? Because it takes 3 days for a seedling to come up. I'm here to strengthen the earth, because he be a strength to the earth with his teachings, right? And to renew all the luminaries which are in the firmament. What do you mean renew? That's why he said be transformed. Right, here we go. This is the book of, when did he do that? Because he created them on the 4th day, but then he renewed them again, the luminaries which are in the firmament. When he did that? When he renewed the luminaries of the firmament? He, on the 4th day, on the 18th day of the 1st month, he said, handle me and see, it is I. He came in the house when the sun went down after the 3rd day. And he appeared to his disciples, and he extended his hand by the messengers, the women that he sent. And he said, handle me and see. Look at the nail prints in my side and my hands, and see that it is I. And you say, why he say that? That's the whole point. He came to renew what? The luminaries. That's the whole point, right? This is the book of 1 Peter. Actually, Ephesians chapter 4. Even Ephesians chapter 4, verse 21. Ephesians chapter 4, verse 21. Assuming that you have heard about him and were taught in him, as the truth is in Yahusha, to put off your old self. He said, you put it off, which belongs to your former manner of life, and is corrupt through deceitful desires. That's why you won't speak. That's why you won't open your mouth and speak and be a witness and aid. You know why? Because you still have deceitful desires in your former manner of life that is corrupt. That's the whole point. And guess what? And to be renewed in the ruach of your minds. And to put on the new self, created after the likeness of Elohim in his true righteousness and Kudush or Kudash. Because he gave you a speaking ruach. Because that's his image and likeness. Therefore, having put away falsehood, that's the whole point. That's why you can't do it. You still got falsehood in your heart. Let each one of you speak a mouth with his neighbor, for we are members one of another. That's the whole point. Going back to Pseudepigrapha Jubilee, chapter 19, 16 through 31. Skipping down. And he called Jacob before the eyes of Rebekah, his mother, and kissed him. And baraked him and said, Jacob, my beloved son, whom my soul loveth. Isn't that what he did with Yahushua when he appeared on the mountain? This is my beloved son in whom I am well pleased. That's the father telling the great-great-great-grandfather, the great-grandfather telling the father of the son of the father. My Elohim barak thee from above the firmament, and may he give thee all the barak wherewith he baraked Adam, and Hanuk, and Nuach, and Shem. Huh? How many is that? Wherewith he baraked Adam, 1, Hanuk, 2, Nuach, 3, and Shem, 4. You'd be like, why he gave him 4? Because that's what the 4 transition times are. That's what the 4 seasons are. That's what the 4 corners of the earth. That's what the 4 gates are. That's where all this stuff comes from. That's the whole point. Why do you think he called him Jacob? Why do you think he got 4 gates? He got 1 gate for who? Adam, Hanuk, Nuach, and Shem. But it's just showing you that 4 gates. But each one had 12 gates for each corner. And guess what? In all things of which he told me, and all things which he promised to give me, may he cause to cleave to thee, and to thy seed forever, according to the days of the Shamayims above the Arats. And the spirits of Mastama, and the spirits of Mastama shall not rule over thee or over thy seed to turn thee from Yahuwah. See, this is the whole point. That's why people leave Yahuwah and go worship other and do other things. Because the spirits of Mastama have taken rule over their mind. So has the Ruach, the Mastama, taken rule over your mind. From Yahuwah, who is thy Elohim, and henceforth forever. And may Yahuwah Elohim be father to thee, and thou the firstborn son, and to the people always. Go in peace, my son. And they both went, what? And they both went forth together from Abraham. And Rebekah loved Jacob with all her heart, and with all her soul, very much more than Asu. Why? Because of Asu's deeds. Yitzhak loved Asu much more than Jacob, because Jacob couldn't see his deed, or Yitzhak couldn't see his deeds. The book of Bereshit 27, 1 through 46. going to skip over some of this, but we're going to get through it. When Yitzhak was old and his eyes were dim, so that he could not see, he called Esau, his older son, and said to him, "My son." And he answered, "Here am I." And he said, "Behold, I am older. I do not know the day of my death. Now then, take such as I love and bring it to me, so that I may eat, and my soul may barak you before I die." Now Rebekah was listening with Yitzhak when Yitzhak spoke to his son Esau. So Esau went to the field to hunt the game and bring it. Rebekah said to her son Yaakov, "I heard your father speak to your brother Esau. Bring me game and prepare for me delicious food, that I may eat it and barak you before Yahuwah before I die. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice as I command you. Go to the flock and bring me 2 good young goats, so that I may prepare them delicious for your father, such as he loved. And he shall bring it to your father to eat, so that he may barak you before he dies." But Yaakov said to Rebekah his mother, "Behold, my brother Esau is a hairy man, and I am a smooth man." I ain't got a lot of hair on me. I don't got a lot of hair on me. He got a lot of hair on him. That's his name. Esau mean hairy, and he mean red. I ain't got no hair on my skin, but I'm red though. I'm like his same color, but my father's eyes are dim, so he can't really tell. Only difference is he got a lot more hair than I do. So therefore, he gonna know. And guess what? Which were in her house, as he said. So he took. Verse 11. But Yaakov said to Rebekah his mother, "Behold, my brother Esau is a hairy man, and I am a smooth man. Perhaps my father will feel me, and I shall seem to be mocking and bring a curse upon myself and not a barak." His mother said to him, "Let your curse be on me." Why do you think Yahushua said, "The reproaches of reproach thee fell on me, Yahuwah"? Why do you think Yahuwah is telling a woman to be a witness? Why do you think he's telling you to be a witness? "My son, only obey my voice and go and bring them to me." Verse 14. So he went and took them and brought them to his mother, and his mother prepared delicious food such as his father loved. And then Rebekah took the best garments of Esau, her older son, which were in her house, which were with her in her house, and put them on Yaakov, her younger son. And the skin of the young goats she put on his hands and on the smooth parts of his neck. And she put on delicious food and bread, which she had prepared into the hand of her son Yaakov. So he went in to his father and said, "My father." And he said, "Here am I. Who are you, my son?" And Yaakov said to his father, "I am Esau, your firstborn." So he came in the name of a son that Yitzhak loved, because that was his father. He came in the name of a son that his father loved. That's why he said, "All that immersion Yahushua have put him on." Because now you're just like him. You're just like Yaakov. All that immersion Yahushua have put him on. So now you're coming in the name of a son that Yahuwah loves. You're coming in his name. That's why you got to put him on. Because you got to go to judgment. You got to go to judgment. And he said, all that mercy, who should put him on? You got to put him on. You got to go to judgment. Either you get a barak or you get a curse. And if you don't do it, and you don't do it correctly, he going to see you. I am Esau, your firstborn. Who was your firstborn? I have done as you have told me. Now sit up and eat my game, that your soul may barak me. But Yitzhak said to his son, how is it that you have found it so quickly, my son? He said, how you did that fast? It's the same thing He told Yehuda, Judas. He said, wherever you're going to do it quickly. Deceiver. Deceiver. See, Yahusha already knew he was deceiver because he already read this. You cold, you heel catcher, you trying to supplant me. You helping the chief priests and the elders and the scribes and the high priests underhand me to do what? To take me down. Akob, heel catcher, Yaakov, Judas, Yehuda. That's the whole point. That's the whole point of that. How is it that you have found it so quickly, my son? He answered, because Yahuwah, your Elohim, granted me a success. Then Yitzhak said to Yaakov, please come near that I may feel you, my son, to know whether you are really my son, Esau, or not. Why do you think Yahuwah said, handle me and see? Touch me and see. It is I. Feel the nail prints in my hands and my side. He said, what did Thomas say? He said, I will not believe unless I do it. I ain't going to believe who you are. I'm not even going to believe. Do you believe? He said, I don't believe who you are because I touched you. I'm coming to touch you and see them nail prints and touch your side. I got to see it. And guess what? Then Yitzhak said to Yaakov, please come near that I may feel you, my son, and know whether you are my son, Esau, or not. So Yaakov went near to Yitzhak, his father, who felt him and said, the voice is Yaakov's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau. He's like, man, it's Yaakov's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau. And he did not recognize him because his hands were hairy like his brother Esau. He said, man, your hands are hairy like his. I didn't recognize him. So are your eyes them? And can you recognize the son? And guess what? So he baraked him and said, are you really my son, Esau? And guess what he said? And he answered, I am. He said, Ani. He said, I am. I am your son. And guess what? Then he said, bring it near to me that I may eat my son's game and barak you. So he baraked it near to him and he ate. And he brought him wine and he drank. He did all that. He said, he said, you my son Yaakov, right? No, you sound like Yaakov, but you got the hands of Esau and your hairs are hairy, but I'm going to give you the barak anyway because my eyes are dim. Because I know that, Yaakov name means supplanter. It means he does a lot of underhanded things. Because he uses his hands to do it. He does a lot of underhanded things to remove people from their authority. Treacherous things. That's what he does. But this is the whole point. He said, so why did the woman help him? Because Abraham already told him. Esau cannot. You see his deeds? No, we can't allow that to happen. But then you see Yaakov, you see Rebecca overhearing a conversation, and then she said, you know what, Yaakov, do this. Not even knowing all these behaviors that she was teaching him that he did was all deception. It was all deception. This is why he said Yaakov, but Yasharal, speak, please. Don't do what Yaakov did. Yasharal, please speak. Don't do what he did. Yasharal, speak. Then his father Yitzhak said to him, come near and kiss me, my son. Why do you think Judas kissed Yahushua Mashiach? Because he a deceiver. He do an underhanded thing. He a little trickery. That's what Yaakov's name means. His name means trickery. I tricked you. You know that's a dog. Aldi. Demon of trickery. Yaakov, but Yasharal, please speak. Two different people. The speaking Ruach is the second Adam. But if you put your trust in Adam, the first Adam, you're going to find yourself doing You're cold. And guess what? Come near and kiss me, my son. So he came near and kissed him, and Yitzhak smelled the smell of his garments and baraked him and said, see, the smell of my son is the smell of the field that Yahuwah has baraked. My son, my Elohim give you, may Elohim give you the dew of Shamayim and the fatness of the earth and plenty of grain and wine. So either you Yahuwah's son or you not. Ain't no more deceiving no more. Either you are Yasharal or you not. Either you are the second Adam or you are the first. Which one rules over you? Does the first Adam rule over you? Or the second? Does your code or Yasharal, the speaking ruach? Which one? Because whichever one you yourself to, that's the one you're going to practice though. And you're going to be tricking, and you're going to be using trickery. But guess what? May Elohim give you the dew of Shamayim and the fatness of the earth and plenty of grain and wine. Let the people serve you and the nations bow down to you. Now you see why Yahushua Mashiach, he said every knee gonna bow, every tongue gonna confess. Why when Judas, who kissed him, came and get him, he said, whom do you seek? He says, I am he, Ani Hua. He said, Ani Hua, and he fell and hit the ground. Yahushua Mashiach said, Ani Hua, I am he. Now you see why he said, I'm my father I want, because Yahuwah was in the Son, reconciling the world to himself. And he said, let the people serve you and the nations bow down to you. Be master over your brothers, and may your mother's sons bow down to you. Cursed be everyone who curses you, and be everyone who baraked you. As soon as Yitzhak had finished baraking or baraka Yaakov, when Yaakov had secretly gone out from the presence of Yitzhak his father, Esau his brother came in from his hunting, and he also prepared delicious food and brought it to his father. And he said to his father, let my father arise and eat of his son's game, that you may barak me. And his father Yitzhak said to him, who are you? And he said, I am your son, your firstborn, Esau. He said, I'm the firstborn. I'm the firstborn son, your son Esau. And then Yitzhak trembled very violently and said, who was it then that hunted game and brought it to me, and I ate it all before you came, and I baraked him. Yes, he shall be baraked. As soon as Esau heard the words of his father, he cried out with an exceedingly great bitter cry, and said to his father, barak me, even me, O my father. And guess what he said? But he said, your brother came deceitfully, and he has taken away your barak. Right, this is the book of Matthew, chapter 27. Matthew, chapter 27, verse 63. Actually, Matthew 27 and verse 45. Now from the 6th hour there was darkness over the land until the 9th hour. About the 9th hour, Yahushua cried with a loud voice, Aliyah, Aliyah, lama sabachthani, it is my Elohim, why hast thou forsaken me? Why has your code? He said, my father, barak me, please. Barak me. He said, please. Oh, my father, please. But guess what happened? And some of the bystanders hearing it said, this man is calling for Aliyah. Man, your code done confused you. Your code done confused you. See, they still trying to confuse you. This man is calling for Aliyah, see? They still trying to confuse you, trying to deceive you, Father, to take my barak away. You hear them down there? They saying, I'm calling for Aliyah, my Father. They still trying to keep the blessing from me. They trying to make it look like I don't know what I'm talking about up here. On the cross. Please, Father, barak me. Because they your code. They heel catchers. They trickery. They undermine me. But guess what he did? And some of the bystanders hearing it, this man is calling for all Yahoo. And one of them at once ran and took a sponge and filled it with sour wine. He said, man, you just filled the thing with sour wine. Please. But guess what? And put a reed, he says, and put it on a reed and gave him to drink. But the other said, wait, let's see whether all Yahoo will come and save him. And Yahusha cried out again with a loud voice and yielded up his ruach. He said, he said, man, they done stole my stuff. They done stole it. Them 12 tribes, that Yaakov, them deceivers, that Yehuda, that Judas, they stole my stuff. They took my Barak away. But guess what he did? He took away what it says, going into verse 34. And as soon as Yeshua heard the words of his father, he cried out with an exceedingly great and bitter cry, because that's why they gave him that bitter wine, and said, what? To his father, Barak me, even me also my father. But he said, your brother came deceitfully, and he came and has taken away your Barak. That's why he became a curse for you. He came deceitfully. And guess what? And Asu said, it is not rightly named. Is he not rightly named Yaakov? See, that's the whole point, because his name means supplant, means underhanded, trickery, deceitful person. His name means heel catcher. For he has cheated me these 2 times. Why do you think Yahushua cried out twice? He's like, my Elohim, my Elohim. Why do you think he cried out? He cheated me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, my Elohim, and behold, now he has taken away my Barak, my Elohim. Then he said, have you not reserved a Barak for me? Please, Barak me. But you just destiny swapped me. Now you see why Yahushua traded places. He had to trade places. So you can get the Barak and he can get the curse. That's the only way you get the Barak. Because he had to be a Su in order for you to get the Barak. He had to come deceitfully and give you some food. So your eyes you couldn't really see and you couldn't hear anyway. So he had to deceive you and give you some food so you can get eternal life. That's why he said, take, eat, this is my body which is broken for you. Do this in remembrance of me. He had to do that for you in order for you to get it. He had to deceive you in order for you to do it. He had to trade so you can take it. So you can get it. You couldn't get it unless he did that. That's why they had to bear the reproach. That's why his mother said, I'll bear the reproach. Why do you think Yahushua had to bear all the reproach? He said, my Azar. In Psalm 69, he said, the reproach of those who reproach you, he fell on me. I took all of that. And Yitzhak answered and said to Yasu, behold, I have made him master over you. Because the elder going to serve the younger. And all his brothers I have given to him for servants. How many brothers? He said, all his brothers I given him for servants. And with grain and wine I sustain him. That's why you think you just said all power is given to me in Shamayim and earth. Because Yahuwah put him over all of us. The Father put the Son over all of us, and we are his servants. What can I do for you, my son? Esau said to his father, have you but one Barak, my father? Barak me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. This is the whole point of this whole thing, right? Then Yitzhak, his father, answered and said to him, behold, away from the fatness of the earth shall be your dwelling be, and away from the dew of Shamayim on high. For by your sword you shall live, and you shall serve your brother. You shall serve the younger. You're going to serve him. But when you grow restless, and you shall break the yoke from your neck. He said, when you get restless, when you start to become agitated, you're going to break the yoke from his neck, from your neck. And guess what? Now, Asu hated your code. Now, you see, this whole thing created hatred. Being a deceiver, underhanded, trickery person, you create hatred in somebody else. And by stealing, this is why you don't want to practice these things in Yahushua Mashiach. That's why Yahushua had to fulfill all of this. It was evil. It was all evil. Even though he had evil deeds. But at the same time, these practices create hatred. And it causes other people to have things in their heart. But it says, now Asu hated Yaakov because of the Barak, which his father had baraked him. That's why people start hating people today. You get a Barak, you get money, you get a car, you get a house, you get things that from your hood. People start having this hatred inside of them. And why? Because it's already in you. Because you're of your code. You're of your code. You know, twins share the same DNA. You share the same DNA. You are the sons of Yasharal. You are the sons of Yaakov. You share the same DNA. That same DNA is inside of your ancestral memory, which does make you produce these behaviors. Oh, just like you came out from Adam and you get death, well, you got all your deception, underhanded, evil things from your code. And your trickery. That's why you're so skilled at it. You be like, how are you so skilled? Why do you think Yahushua said be wise as a serpent, gentle as a dove? Because you're real skilled at what you do when it comes to being wise as a Nakash. You're skilled at it. But then your skillfulness can be evil as well. And guess what? Now your code, because of the Barak in which his father had baraked him, and Asu said to himself, the days are mourning for my father are approaching. Then I will kill my brother Yaakov. Now you see why and then you have people want to kill you. I'm going to kill you for taking my Barak away. I'm going to kill you for taking my destiny and switching my destiny around and taking mine and making me serve you by undermining me. I'm going to kill you for that. But the words of Asu, her older son, were told to Rebekah. Right? Asu was talking around the whole land. And then they went and told her. Just like Abigail heard about Dawid coming to kill who? Nabal. And she heard that Asu was coming to kill her son Yaakov. So what she do? Just sit there and be silent? So she sent and called Yaakov, her younger son, and said to him, behold, your brother Asu comforts himself about you by planning to kill you. What? Rebecca went over there and said, boy, Asu, you ain't finna kill my son. And did she do that? You ain't finna kill my son. I assure you, if you get in the way of a murderer or a killer, you're going to get yourself killed too. He said, how do you know that? Go ask the king of Yehuda when he got in the way. He got in the way when Yahuwah sent Nebuchadnezzar and all them people trying to take out Yasharal and Mizraim. He said, move out the way. I am anointed. Yahuwah has sent me. He won't get out the way. He got taken out. But she went. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice, arise and flee to Laban, my brother in Haran. Man, go to your other man. Go to Laban's house. And stay with him for a while. That's why why you think he sent Yahushua to Mizraim? Until Herod, the one who was seeking his life, died. Because you're not going to stop somebody from killing somebody. You better run. You got to flee. Because that's the whole point of it. That's what a wise woman do. Now, an unwise woman jump in the middle of it. And then you get, if something happened to you. And guess what happens? Stay with him a while until your brother's fury, it says, stay with him a while until your brother's fury turns away. That's why Yahuwah sent his son into Mizraim with Yusuf by a dream. Because Yahuwah was a wise man, because he had that feminine nature. You know, that wisdom, that feminine nature that you're supposed to have on the inside, that wisdom, that hukmah. He had that on the inside of him. And he sent his Malaki as a messenger, and he sent it to Yusuf, and he said, take them into Mizraim until Herod, his other brother, his older brother, because he don't want to serve the younger, because he said, we seen his star in the east. We seen his star come out. And it must be a Malak born. He's like, hold up now. They go that undermining your code inside of him. Because Esau Asu was restless. He's like, no, that's not going to happen again. I'm not going to lose my rulership again. It says, until your brother's anger turn away from you, and he forgets that you have done what you have done to him. See, it takes time for people to forget what, people say, I did that evil to you 16 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, a year ago. And it just goes away overnight. No. It takes time for those things to go away, and he forgets those things. How did Yusuf forget what his brother's done after 32 years? He had Asenath, a wife, and he bore children. That made him forget. Because, children keep you busy, keep your mind, and you ain't even thinking about what people doing did to you. The only thing you're thinking about is the children you have. That's all you're thinking about. You ain't thinking about all the stuff other people did to you. Once you get those things, it's just like, man, it's okay. Because you done did so much. Then I will send and bring you from here. There. That's why he sent his Malaki again. He said, now you can return back to Yasharal. Return back to the land of Yasharal. He came out of Mizraim, I've called my son. That's what Rebecca was doing. Out of Mizraim, I called my son. Why should I bereath you both in one day? He's like, man, why should I watch both of you die? Because they're going to have to fight. Because he was coming to kill them, and they say, man, why would I be mourning over both of you tonight? I don't want to be mourning over two sons dying. But they'll let them, y'all go ahead and fight. You know how it is. You see today, y'all go ahead and fight. Settle it right here. That's not a wise thing to do. And that's what people teach their children. That's what people do. And you wonder why you're mourning for your only son or your daughter. Then Rebekah said to Yitzhak, I loathe my life because of the Hittite woman. If Yaakov marries one of the Hittite women like these, one of the women of the land, what good is my life to be with me? So she sent him to get an Isha, and he's like, you can't marry none of these women around here. But that was the reason why he said, why you send them to Laban? Get a bride, but then not even knowing yet, she knew that Esau was coming to kill him. Go find your wife. Go away. Because I'm not going to mourn for y'all today. So that word for hated in that word is Satan. And Esau hated Yaakov. It's Satan. It means to hate, oppose oneself, to bear a grudge, to retain animosity. He bared a grudge and retained animosity, to lurk, to persecute, to hate, to oppose self against. Animosity describes a deep-seated feeling or a strong dislike, ill will, or bitter hostility. Why do you think that you take the bitter cup when you lay with a man sexually? He's literally telling you the man has animosity, he got hatred, bitter hostility, and an enduring intense emotion that often drives active opposition or antagonistic behavior between people, groups, and rival entities. Galatians chapter 5, we almost finished. This is Galatians chapter 5 and verse 19. Galatians chapter 5 and verse 19. Now the works of the flesh are evident: sexual immorality, or porneia, impurity, sensuality, idolatry, sorcery, enmity, strife, fits of anger, rivalries. That's what your code creates. dissension, divisions, envy, drunkenness, orgies, and such things like these. I warn you, as I warned you before, that those who do such things will not inherit the malkuth of Elohim. You ain't supposed to have these behaviors in here. He's saying you ain't supposed to have these behaviors in your heart. You ain't supposed to have these behaviors even amongst other people. So antagonistic, showing a feeling of active opposition, hostility, unfriendliness towards someone or something. It means acting against or being in conflict with an imposing force. That's what Satan means. You're literally, that's what he did. That's what literally Esau was doing. He's literally has that much hatred. Right, so that word for a reason, it says, going to this book of Leviticus chapter 19, because you know that word Satan means with grudge. 19, 17 through 18. You shall not hate your brother or sister in your heart, but you shall reason frankly with your neighbor, lest you incur sin because of him. You shall not take vengeance or bear a grudge against the sons of your own people, but you shall love your neighbor as you love yourself. And see, so now you see why Rebecca was go over here. Why? Because if you don't. So that word for reason is yakak. Yeah, yakak. To prove, to decide, to judge, to rebuke, to reprove, to correct, to chasten, to be right, to decide, to justify, to convict, to plead, to reason together, reasoning together, to rebuke, to reprove, to surely in any wise. Right? You have to do these things. He said you have to let us reason, right? Right? That word for grudges, actually, yeah, the word for grudge is natar in that verse. Natar. It means to. It says, you shall not take vengeance or bear a grudge. The word for grudge is natar. It means to keep guard, to reserve maintenance, to maintain, to guard, to cherish. It means anger. You're cherishing this grudge that you got. You're maintaining this grudge you got. You're reserving it for another time in the future to use it for manipulation in the future. To maintain it, you're maintaining it in your heart. Figuratively, to cherish it. It's like an idol. That's what Esau did. That's why he had a grudge all the way till Yahushua Mashiach came on the scene. Over 3,000, almost 2,000 years of the grudging came on the scene, even when Yahushua was there. Think about it. This is the book of Psalms, Tahalim 51, 1 through 33. Give ear to my prayer, Elohim, and hide not yourself from my plea for mercy. Attend to me and answer me. I am restless in my complaint, and I moan because of the noise of the enemy, because of the oppression of the wicked. For they drop trouble upon me, and the anger they bear a shatam against me, a grudge. He said, they still got a grudge against me. My heart is in anguish within me. Why would it not? He trying to kill me. And terrors of death have fallen upon me. Fear and trembling come upon me, and horror overwhelms me. Why didn't you call when he got to lay me? He said he was scared. He was fleeing from his brother. And I say, oh, that I had wings like a dove. Now why he say, now you see why Rebecca gave Yaakov wings like a dove. Why do you think Yahuwah gave Yahusha through his father Yusuf wings like a dove? Why do you think he did that? Because people had grudges against him. I used to be wise as a serpent in the cause, but you need to be harmless as a dove. You don't need to be fighting nobody. Just get wings like a dove. My heart is in anguish within me, and terrors of death have fallen upon me. Fear and trembling has come upon me, and horror overwhelms me. And I say, oh, that I have wings like a dove, that I will fly away and be at rest. Yes, I would wander far away, and I would lodge in the wilderness. Selah. I will hurry to find shelter from the raging winds and the tempest. What do you think that is? It's a storm. It's a wind. It's a tempest. It is a hurricane. It's coming in your life. It's a storm. It's called a test. That's all it is. Destroy Yahuwah, divide their tongues, for I see violence and strife in the city. That's the whole point. You got to divide their tongues. Why do you think Rebecca divided them? Why do you think Yahuwah divided Yahusha from Herod? You had to. For I see violence and strife in the city. Day and night they go about in it on its walls, and iniquity and trouble are within it. That's what's inside of you. Ruin is in the midst, oppression and fraud. Do not depart from its marketplaces. Why do you think Yahushua said, I liken you to children in the marketplace? In Matthew 11. I piped on you. You ain't even danced. I played a good song too. I even cried, and you didn't even cry. But wisdom is justified in their children. Verse 12. For it is not an enemy who taunts me, and I could bear it. I could bear it. It is not an adversary who deals insolent with me, and I could hide from him. He said, I can do that. But it is you, a man, my equal, my companion, my familiar friend. That's the whole point. We used to take sweet counsel together within Yahuwah's house. We walked in the throng. Let death steal over them, and let them go down to Sheol alive, for evil is in their dwelling place and in their heart. See, that's the whole point. It's inside of you. It's inside of your heart. But I call to Elohim, and Yahuwah will save me. Evening and morning and noon, or Aydah, Bakar, and Sahar, I utter my complaint and moan, a Haman, and he hears my voice. And he redeems my soul in safety from the battle that I wage. Why do you think you're doing all them prayers? See, you ain't going to start praying in morning, noon, and evening, and all these things until all these things start happening to you. Then you're going to do it. Because you're raging a battle. For many are arrayed against me. Elohim will give ear and humble them. He who enthroned from old, Selah, because they do not change and do not fear Elohim. You say you still refuse to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. You refuse to change. Therefore, my companion stretched out his hand against his friends. He violated his covenant. He did what? My companion stretched out his hand against his friends. He violated his covenant. Isn't that what Yaakov did? He put out them hairy hands to his father Yitzhak. Now he stole my birthright and my barak. His speech was smooth as butter. Man, you like my son, you're cold. You sound like you're cold. But because Jacob is smooth. But your hands like a soup. It's smooth as butter. Yet war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil. They were drawn swords. And guess what? Cast your burden on Yahuwah, and he shall sustain you. And he will permit the righteous to be, he will permit the righteous, and it says he will never permit the righteous to be moved. But you, O Elohim, will cast them down to the pit of destruction, men of blood. He said, men of blood and treachery shall not live out half the days, but I trust in you. Why? Because when Yaakov stole his barak, Esau said, I'm going to kill him. I'm going to kill him. But he didn't understand that his deeds were evil. But even though his deeds were evil, and then Yaakov using his scheme and his plot, his underhand and his trickery, then Yahuwah had to deal with both of them. in their both capacities of who they are. And then he had to take Yaakov through so many things, and then he had his name changed to Yasharal. And then for some reason, after he changed his name to Yasharal, he started speaking differently to his brother Asu. He started telling the truth. He stopped acting deceitfully. He said, "You're cold, but Yasharal speak." The second Adam needs to speak, not the first. Because that's the person that needs to speak, the inward man. Right, this is Jeremiah chapter 9, 1 through 10. Oh, that my head were waters, and my eyes a fountain of tears, that I might weep day and night for the slain of the daughter of my people. He said, why would he say the slain of the daughter of my people? Oh, that I had in the desert a traveler's lodge, that I might leave my people and go away from them, for they are all adulterers. You know, you got the adulterous belly. All their organs, their bowels are swollen. They are all adulterers. A company of treacherous men, ma'al, they departed from a faith, a movement, just like the woman with the bitter cup. She had to take the bitter cup to show her forth, ma'al, her treachery. Ma'al. And guess what? They bend their tongues like a bow, falsehood and not truth has grown strong in the land, or sheker. For they proceed from evil to evil, and they do not know me, declares Yahuwah. Let everyone beware of his neighbor. Why? And put no trust in a brother or sister, for every brother or sister is a deceiver. It's just like your code. It's just like your code. And every neighbor goes about as a slanderer. He said, everybody just like him. Everybody just like your code. Everyone deceives his neighbor. Everybody. You know, Yaakov does that. And no one speaks a month because they don't want to speak. Yaakov come, but Yasharal speak the truth a month. They have taught their tongue to speak lies. They weary themselves in committing iniquity, heaping oppression upon oppression and deceit upon deceit. They refuse to know me, declares Yahuwah. Didn't know what Esau and Yaakov were doing? Oppression upon oppression and deceit upon deceit. Even Rebecca. When they doing that? Over and over again? And guess what? Therefore, thus says Yahuwah of hosts, behold, I will refine them and test them. Why do you think Yaakov went through all them tests? And why do you think you go through all them tests in your life? Or what else can I do because of my people? What else am I going to do? How am I going to refine them through the furnace of affliction? Their tongue is a deadly arrow. It speaks deceitfully. I mean, it says your language, your tongue is deceitfully. With his mouth, each speaks peace to his neighbor, but his heart, he plans an ambush for him. They say shalom, but they got an ambush for you right under their tongue. They got a whole bunch of people joining in while they saying shalom to you, but they got like 50 to 30 other people who know about what the other person doing to you. Shall I not punish them for these, declares Yahuwah? Shall I not avenge myself on a nation such as this? Right, so that word for a deceiver in that verse is the same word for you see for a cup for Yaakov when he said he was a heel catcher. It bruised his heel. It's the same word for heel. Every brother and sister is a cab, a heel, a rear front, right? It is a what? A hinder part, a foot, a heel, a rear. He said Yaakov Yad grabbed the heel of Esau. There, he deceived him. His name means heel catcher. They call him Yaakov, your heel catcher, the undermining, deceitful person, trickery. He said, you just like Yaakov. Every brother and sister is just like Yaakov. They will undermine and trick you and try to remove you from your position and or your destiny. And try to destroy you. He said, everybody does that in your Yasharal. He said, all of you. You're just like your coat. A cob, right? It means heel, foot, heel. Hence, a track, the rear, hoof, last, right? It also means, because we talked about protuberant. It means to what? It means bulging and swelling. Just like the adulterous belly. You lie sexually with a man. You commit adultery. That's why he called them we just read in Yirmiyahu, he called them in 9, he said they all commit adultery. They are adulterous people. They got the adulterous belly. Everybody got the adulterous belly. You're adulterous people. That's what you are. Right? This is Micah chapter 7, 2 through 10. Woe is me, for I am become as when the summer fruit has been gathered. This is what the time is now. As when the grapes have been gleaned. There is no cluster to eat, no ripe fig that my soul desires. The Kasid, the kind ones, the godly ones, has perished from the earth. Where the kind people at? That's that word for the godly is kind. And there is no one upright among mankind. They all your code. They all lie in wait for blood. They all deceivers, underminers. And each hunts the other with a net. You know what you're assuming? I'm going to kill my brother. You got deceivers and killers. And guess what? Their hands are on what is evil, their yard, to do it well. The prince and the judge ask for a bribe, and the great man utters the evil desire of his soul. Thus they weave it together. They all the behaviors, they weave it together. They all want to join together as one. You want to do deceivers and killers all together as one? Heel catcher, undermining trickery people? You want to make all of us one. What do you think you're going to produce? You're going to do it very well. Whatever you come to do. Why do you think Shinar and Babylon, they all joined together as one? They had one language, one speech, and they came to build a tower to Shamayim, and Yahuwah came down to see it. He's like, man, you see what these people are doing? Thus, they weave it together. The best of them is like a briar, and the upright of them is just like a thorn's hedge. Now you see why he said, Adam, thorns and thistles is going to yield you. Not even knowing when he was sowing seed, Adam was trying to produce something that was going to be inside of human beings. That's why Abraham was naming Adam, Shem, Nuach, and Hanuk as those 4 people that he was going to inherit. He was given to Yaakov. The day of your watchman, of your punishment has come. And now the confusion is at hand. He's like, it's confusion at hand now. Put no trust in a neighbor and have no confidence in a friend. Guard the doors of your mouth from her that lies in your arm. Why? Because everybody are adulterous people. For the son treats his father with contempt, the daughter rises against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law, and a man's enemies be of his own household. But as for me, right? So who you trust? We talked about it in the first 2 slides. But as for me, what did he say? I will look to Yahuwah. Who is what? My Azar. I will wait for Elohim of my salvation. Because that's what Asu didn't do. Because he was faint and weary. And guess what? He didn't wait for Yahuwah. He couldn't renew his strength because he was exhausted and he was faint. Because all the people were around him doing all these things. But guess what? My Elohim will hear me. Rejoice not over me, O my enemy, when I fall. I will rise. I shall rise. When I sit in darkness, Yahuwah will be or to me. Yahuwah or Yasha, Yahweh, Yahuwah, Ma'uz, Kaibaka. He said, Yahuwah is my light and my salvation. I will bear the indignation of Yahuwah. He said, I'm going to bear his punishment. But guess what? Because I have sinned against him until he pleads my cause. See, this is the whole point. And excuses and executes judgment for me, and he will bring me out to the light, to the order. Commandments 11, the teaching is light. And reproof and correction is a way of life. I shall look upon his vindication. See, it ain't going to be my vindication. He said, I'm going to look upon his vindication. Why? Then my enemy will see the shame, and shame will cover her who said to me, where is Yahuwah your Elohim? My eyes will look upon her now. She will be trampled down like the mirror in the street. Why do you think Yahushua, they say, come down from the cross, we believe in you. Because you crucified when Yahushua Mashiach. Most people didn't know that. They didn't know that. This is the book of James, Jacob, chapter 4, 1 through 4. What causes quarrels, and what causes fights among you? What happened? Is it not this, that your passions are at war within you? You desire and do not have. You deceivers, underhanded, trickery people. You heel catchers. You akab. You heel catchers. So you murder. You Esu. Because he couldn't have his Barak. So he started killing. He said, I'm going to kill my brother Jacob. You wicked people. You covet and cannot obtain. Why do you think men and women, why do you think Isha try to kill their husband after they do something evil? He said, you covet and you cannot obtain it. He said, why can't I get it? I covet this, I want it, but I can't obtain it. So you fight and quarrel because of the Barak that he got. He got a whole bunch of money. He got millions, and I ain't got nothing. So then now you fight and quarrel, and now you want to kill somebody. Now you want to activate your code on the inside. You shall not have, because he says you fight and quarrel. You do not have because you do not ask. You ask and do not receive because you ask wrongly to spend it on your passions. You adulterous people. You adulterous. You got the adulterous belly. Your belly done swell. You swollen. You like grabbing a heel and making it swell, holding on so tight. He said, you are adulterous people. Do you not know that friendship with the world is enmity, with Elohim is hatred? It's mutual hatred. Why? Because you got their seed on the inside of you now. And you're doing the same behaviors as they do, that the nations do. Because that's what the nations do. That's what the nations do. Therefore, whosoever wishes to be a friend of the world, of the nations, makes himself an enemy of Elohim Yahuwah. Why? Because you're doing the behaviors of them. He said, you're going to be his enemy. Tahalim, Psalms 38, 11 through 16. My friend and companion stand aloof from my plague, and my nearest kin stand far off. That's what people do when you start going through your punishment. Those who seek my life lay their snares. What do? They lay their snares. They do what? They lay their snares. Those who seek my hurt speak of ruin and meditate treachery all day long. Ma'al. They depart from the moon. They depart from faith. But I am like a deaf man. He's like, man, I can't hear. And we just read that in Yeshayahu. He said, bring the deaf. Bring the one who got ears that can't hear. I do not hear. I am a mute who does not open his mouth. He's like, man, look at here. I'm like a mute person too. I got ears I can hear. I got eyes I can't see. I have become like a man who does not hear. And then what you just said, you don't hear all these things they say about you? And he answered them, not a word. I don't got nothing to say. Yahuwah my Elohim, who says, but for you, actually go, I have become like a man who does not hear, and in whose mouths are no rebukes. He said, I ain't going to rebuke my neighbor. You know how he talks about rebuking your neighbor? Reason with your neighbor. He said, I'm not even going to reason with you. I'm not even going to say no. I'm not even going to rebuke you. I was going to do that, but he's like, I'm not even going to do that. But for you, Yahuwah, do I wait. That's why I'm waiting on Yahuwah. But guess what? He said, I wait on Yahuwah and renew your strength. But you're cold. Why did Esau not wait? What did Esau not do? He ate the red lentils, so what you eating now? He said, eat my flesh and drink my blood, you have no life in you. He ate the red lentils. So Yahuwah said, I got you. Because Yahuwah supplanted you. He said, I just supplanted you right now. I just Yaakov'd you right now. You just don't know it. I just did your code right on you. But for you, Yahuwah, do I wait. It is you, Yahuwah Elohim, who will answer. For I said, only let them not rejoice over me. That's what people are going to do. Who boast against me with my foot, when my foot slips. My foot will not slip when I see the prosperity of the wicked. He said, how you get all that? For I am ready to fall. You ever been failed? We used to do these things. We used to do these things in sports. What we do, we'll make ourselves fall. We'll literally practice falling. So when somebody pushes you down, you get right back up really fast. And my pain is ever before me. Okay, so how you get pain? Oh, you ate the bitter cup. You drunk the bitter cup. Because that's the curse that's going to come upon you. Pain in your bowels. The very same thing when you saw in Bereshit when Yahuwah got pain and Adam got pain. It's Yahuwah's judgment. But guess what? I got Yahuwah's judgment and pain is before me. I confess my iniquity. What else you going to do? You're an adulterous people. You're an adulterous woman. You're adulterous. Yashar and Yehuda. You have adulterous behaviors. What else you going to do? And I am sorry for my sin. What do you think it is? I'm not a sinner. But my foes are vigorous. You know, my foes are vigorous. They don't care. They are mighty. And many are those who hate me wrongfully. He said, I got so many. He said, they hate me wrongfully. I don't even know how many it is, no. I don't even know. Those who render me evil for good accuse me because I follow after good. Right, this is book of Numbers 11 through 13. And Yahuwah spoke to Mashah, saying, speak to the people of Yashar, if any man's wife goes astray and breaks faith, or Ma'al deals treacherously with him, if a man lies with her sexually, because you're adulterous people. You got to, hold on, you a friend of the world now? Or you turn back into that Ezekiel 16 again. And it is hidden from her husband, hidden from the eyes of her husband. Yahuwah see everything. Yahuwah's eyes are 10,000 times brighter than the sun. She said, because you know that word for faith, Amunah, breaks faith, is ma'al. It means treacherously transgress. Against man, against Yahuwah, against her husband, against devoted things, cover up. Act covertly, treacherously. Oh, that's your code himself. And you're going to call somebody who want to commit murder because they can't have your Barak. What do you think Asu wanted? Asu saw Yaakov get the Barak. He wanted everything to be taken away from him. He successfully got the Barak. How you get the Barak? It ain't me. And they produced jealousy and envy, and he wanted to destroy him because he stole it from him. Covertly, to secretly, stealthily, hidden, concealed manner, it describes action without attracting attention, often to avoid being declared or recognized or discovered. But Yahuwah see you. This book of Qahalath, Ecclesiastes 7, 26 to 28. And I find something more bitter than death. He said, my enemy lays snares all around me. The woman whose heart is snares and nets. These are the things that one has on the inside. Your code. Rebecca. Ka'ur. Naturally, these behaviors are inside of you. Naturally. You know how to weave the seed and murder together like a net. You know how to lay snares because you got your code. Trickery, underhanding to remove somebody from and destroy them. You know how to do that from birth. The woman whose heart is snares and nets, whose hands are fetters, like chains. They're her yard. He who pleases Elohim escapes her. Why do you think Rebecca said, hey, you know what? You need to go see your brother Laban. And you need to go stay there. Matter of fact, go find you an Isha too. But a sinner will be taken by her. Because y'all overheard your brother, Esau. He was going to kill you. What do you think people laying snares and nets for? When you get an animal get trapped in a snare, what do you think it's for? Let me guess. It's for you to keep it alive after you smashed one of its legs down and broke one of his bones. No, you're trying to kill that person. You're gonna kill that animal once it can't move. You're gonna kill the animal. You just like Esau. You trap it and then you kill it. You adulterous people. You got the adulterous belly. I ain't never been outside of my marriage. Yes, you did. You just did it in a different way. Behold, this is what I found, says the Qahalath, the preacher, while adding one thing to the other. Right? That's why we add it. That's why we add 360 and you add 4 to it. To find the scheme of things. Because who does schemes? Isn't that what Yaakov's name means? Plots and schemes, underhanding, trickery. Because it's all a scheme and a plot. Which my soul has sought repeatedly. I got to repeat this over in my head because I already know it's a plot and a scheme against me. But I have not found. One man among 1,000 I found, but a woman among all these I have not found. He said, I ain't found nobody. Beelzebub originates as Beelzebub, the supreme god of the Philistines of the city of Ekron, meaning Lord of the Fly. Over time, in monotheism spreads, his name was deliberately corrupted to translate Lord to filth, or Lord of dung. That's what they say. But you know, filthy people, as long as you stay filthy, they want you to stay filthy still. They want you to continue to stay filthy. They want you to continually be possessed with Beelzebub. Beelzebub is historically the Lord of the Flies. Originally worshipped as a Philistine deity of the ancient Ekron, in later religions texts, Western demonology, he's considered a high-ranking prince. So who you going to trust? Barak is the man who trusts not in the Gid. Barak is the man who trusts not in the Gid. High-ranking prince of hell, and often serves as a synonym for Shaitan, Satan. Wow. This is Ezekiel, Yakaziel 45 and 10. You shall have just balances, just ephah, and just bath. Why? Because taking a bath and cleaning your body get rid of Satan. How you say get rid of your demons? Because in this world, if you live in an unclean house, unclean room, unclean bathroom, unclean body, in this world, it's unclean. In the other world, it is not. It is a clean place. You can have the most filthiest place in this reality right here, and you'll see like it's, man, that's disgusting. But in the other world, in the demonic world, that is the most cleanest place you ever would see. And they stay right there. And they wait for you to come in, and then they just love you. That's why abandoned warehouses, abandoned places, graveyards, funerals, where death is located, rotten flesh, they live. They live there. The dead are there. You know, the demons are there too. Death and war and destruction, they're there. That's what happens. Right, this is the book of Revelation, Hazum. The book of Revelations, Hazum. The book of Revelation, chapter 21. The book of Revelation, Hazum, 21 and 1. Then I saw a new Shamayim and a new earth. He say a new earth and a new Shamayim. Behold it. You know what Abraham said? When he said he's going to make all the foundations of the Shamayim and the firmament new. And the first Shamayim and the first Arats have passed away, and the sea was no more. And I saw the Qahalath city, New Jerusalem, coming down out of Shamayim from Elohim. So you think that in that city, Beelzebub there, Lord of the Flies, filthy place, filthy understanding. You think that stuff lives inside of New Jerusalem? Qahalath, Jerusalem? Coming down out of Shamayim, Elohim prepared for a bride adorned for a husband. So do you want a filthy place? If you're getting married right now, would you want the whole place filthy and dirty and smelling like things and doing all this stuff? Would you do that? No. And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, behold, the dwelling place of Elohim is with Adam, with man. He will dwell with them, and they will be his people. The Elohim himself will be with them as their Elohim. He say, he going to be with them as their Elohim, right? How is that going to happen, right? This is the Pseudepigrapha. Pseudepigrapha, Volume 1, Old Testament Pseudepigrapha, Testament of Shalom, chapter 3, and verse 6. Chapter 3 and verse 3. And Orenius took the ring and went to Beelzebub and said to him, come, Shalom summons you. And Beelzebub said to him, tell me, what is the Shalom of whom you speak? Then Orenius flung the ring into the chest of Beelzebub and replied, Shalom, the king summons you. Beelzebub cried out like one who is burned from a great burning flame of fire. And when he had gotten up, he followed Orenius under coercion and came to me. When I saw the prince of demons approaching, I kabod Elohim and said, Barak are you, Yahuwah Elohim Almighty, who has granted to your servant Shalom wisdom to the attendant of your thrones, and who has placed in subjection all the power of the demons. So what does that have to do with anything? Right? This is Yeshayahu 65, 1 through 5. Spread out my hands all the day to a rebellious people who walk in the way that is not good. This is Yeshayahu 65, 2 through 5. Following their own devices, a people who provokes me to my face continually. To do what? Sacrificing in gardens and making offerings on bricks, who sit in tombs, in graveyards, and spend the night in secret places, in graveyards, who eat pig's flesh and broth of tainted meat in their vessels. He said they got tainted meat by the broth that they bake it in. And you keep it inside of your body. Who say, keep to yourself, do not come near me, even with all that stuff in their body. Even going in graveyards and being in dead places where all these things with the dead and unclean spirits are. And then you know what they say? Who say, keep to yourself, do not come near me, for I am too Qahalath for you. Then they start acting like they so Qahalath and so self-righteous, not even knowing on the inside they full of Beelzebub. He said, why do people fast and they still go to a filthy place after they wake up from their fast? Because you fasting for Beelzebub. Because if you fasting for Yahuwah, you're going to see your filthy place and you're going to clean it after you fast. But if you don't, you know what people do? They'll fast and then they'll be like, man, why am I still filthy? Why are things still filthy around me? It's because you got Beelzebub on the inside of your heart. You know? Who say, keep to yourself, do not come near me, for I am too Qahalath for you. Don't touch me. There are smoke. These are smoke in my nostrils. He's made Yahuwah's nostrils. He be smoking. And fire burns all day. You know what he did? You know what Beelzebub just did? He's like, man, we just read it. He said when he summoned me, man, it was like fire. He cried out aloud like fire touched him. He said, what does that got to do with anything? Right? So that word for vessels is keli. He said they bring broth with tainted meat, with pig's flesh in their weapons. That's what Keli is. With their utensils, with their vessels and their articles, you know, the utensils you eat from, or the weapons you carry. In the articles and implement apparatus, the hunting for war. Implement of music, man. They got swine, pigs, fest in their music, in their tools, in their instruments, in their furniture, all in your furniture, right? Everything. You know what happens when Beelzebub come in your house, and he sit on your couch, or she, and they got all pigs and swine flesh in their body, and they sit on your couch. They leave all their pig sweat all on your couch, and you don't even want to clean it because you just love this little pig on your house. You don't even want to clean anything in your house because you know why? Because you don't think nothing in there. You be like, man, just leave it. Who cares? Because Beelzebub got control of your thoughts. Because Beelzebub want to live in your house. He want to stay there. He want to live in your body. He said, the Lord of filth, the master of filth, the master of flies. Just like dung on the ground. He said, why people get sick? Everybody close and they got dung on the ground. And then they don't pick it up and put it in the trash. They just leave it there. And then you be like, man, why everybody just getting Beelzebub all in their heart and their mind? That's the whole point. I don't want to sweep the floor, even though I just walked outside and all that stuff. And I probably got something on my shoe and I don't even know it. And it's just all on the floor. Beelzebub. It says something prepared or apparatus, utensils, or weapons, armor, right? Because that's a word for it. Thou shalt not wear that pertaining to a man, neither should I put on a woman's garment, because you know that word for pertaining to a man, is a keli, right? But it's vessels, weapons of war. Pertaineth not, right? He's talking about men doing this too. Right, this is Matthew chapter 9, 32 through 34. And as they were going away, behold, a demon-oppressed man who was mute was brought to him. And when the Shadim had been cast out, the mute man spoke. And the crowds marveled, saying, never was anything like this seen in Yasharal. But the Pharisees said, he cast out demons by the prince of demons. He said, you know, they were thinking, Barak is he who putting out his trust in the Gid. Man, you got the prince of demons, Beelzebub. And here's Shalom, who was a child, because he said, Yahuwah, I'm a child. I don't know how to discern between good and evil. And here he is saying he a child, and he understands Beelzebub. And they say, Yahusha, man, you cast out by the prince of demons. You know, the demons that Shalom had interrogated. This is Matthew 12, 22 to 28. Then the demons oppressed man who was blind and mute was brought to him, and he healed him, so that the man spoke and saw. And all the people were amazed and said, can this son be the son of Dawid? But when the Pharisees heard it, they said, it is only about Beelzebub, the prince of demons, that this man cast out demons. Knowing their thoughts, he said to them, every malkuth divided against itself is laid waste. And no city or house divided against itself will stand. That's why when you have a house divided with a bunch of beliefs, it ain't gonna stand. And if Shaitan cast out Shaitan, he is divided against itself, how then will his kingdom stand? And if he cast out demons by Beelzebub, by whom do you cast them out? Right, so you saying I cast out demons by Beelzebub, how you cast out demons? Because all y'all evil anyway. All y'all raw, and y'all full of, y'all got your code, y'all deceivers and murderers. So how are you casting out demons? You all are slanderers. You are adulterous people, right? So how are you casting out demons? Therefore, they will be your judges. Let them be your judges. Let the demons be your judges. Let Beelzebub be your judge. Beelzebub judge you right. Yeah, you cast them out by me. You my son. You my daughter. But if it be by the Ruach of Yahuwah that I cast out demons, then the Malkuth of Yahuwah has come to you. So if the Ruach cast out your demons, then you've now entered the Malkuth of Yahuwah, right? So if the demons were cast out by you, This is Zechariah chapter 8, 7, 8 through 13. The word of Yahuwah came to Zechariah, saying, Thus says Yahuwah of hosts, render true judgment, show kindness and mercy to one another. So how you casting out demons? Do not oppress the widow, the fatherless, sojourner, or the poor, and let none of you devise evil against another in your heart. So how you casting out your demons? How you casting out spirits? But they refuse to pay attention and turn their stubborn shoulder. I don't got Beelzebub on the inside of me. My house is clean. I'm full of the righteousness and pure. I'm too Qhdsh for you. They made their hearts diamond hard, lest they should hear in the law of in the words that Yahuwah of hosts has sent by his Ruach through the former Nabiim. Therefore, great anger came from Yahuwah of hosts. As I called, and they will not hear, so they called, and I would not hear, says Yahuwah of hosts. And I scattered them with a whirlwind among all nations, that they had not known. Thus the land they left was desolate, so that no one went to and fro. And the pleasant land was made desolate. This is Mark 3, 22 through 25. And the scribes who came down from Jerusalem were saying, He is possessed by Beelzebub. I'm possessed by Beelzebub. So how you cast out demons? And by the prince of demons, he cast out demons. And he called them to him and said to them in parables, How can Shaitan cast out Shaitan? If a kingdom is divided against itself, the kingdom cannot stand. Why do you think he won't let you stand? Because you don't have no kindness. You ain't doing nothing for no. Y'all oppressing everybody. So he said it can't stand. And if a house is divided against itself, the house will not be able to stand. Why do you think they come in and try to make division in the household? Why do you think they prop the goddess up and they put you down at the bottom? And then as soon as you try to rise up, they throw you in prison. Because it's Beelzebub. It's Mustama. It's just demons. This is Luke Oriyah 11, 14 through 22. Now he was casting out demons that were mute. And when the demon had gone out, the mute man spoke. And the people marveled. But some of them said, He cast out demons by Beelzebub, the prince of demons. These are all different accounts. While others said, to test him, kept seeking from him a sign from Shamayim. But he, knowing their thoughts, said to them, Every Malkuth divided against itself is laid waste. And we just read that? Because Yahuwah had a certain behavior that he wanted. And they were divided against Yahuwah. So Yahuwah said, I'm going to cast you in a whirlwind, in a hurricane, in a storm, in a tempest, and test you. And it's going to be laid desolate. But they won't pay attention, though. They kept seeking him signs from Shamayim. And he, knowing their thoughts, said to them, Every kingdom divided against itself is laid waste. And a divided household falls. It's going to fall. And if Shaitan is also divided against itself, how will his kingdom stand? They got to be one just like you got to be one. Everybody got to be one. You think Satan's kingdom got to be one? Your Malkuth got to be one. Your household has to be one. Adam, they got to be one. I pray that they be one even as we are one. Hero Yahshua, Yahuwah is one. So you think Satan ain't got to be one? They got to be one too. For you say, I cast out demons by Beelzebub. And if I cast out demons by Beelzebub, by whom do your sons cast them out? Therefore, they will be your judges. But if by the finger of Yahuwah, that's how he wrote the 10 Commandments. Notice how he wrote the 10 Commandments. Thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness, thou shalt not do these things out of your mouth. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house, thy donkey, ox, wives, machine, men servant, maid servant, ox, donkey. Thou shalt not murder. He did all that with his finger. So Yahuwah casting out demons by his 10 Commandments. He wrote the 10 Commandments with his finger. And amazing, it's 10 too. Because you need a yard. You need a man's hand to write on the finger. You need his yard, which is his right hand, to write 10 Commandments for the Isha so they can do it. Because you need a yard. You need a tent. You need a yard. Because if you ain't got one, how you going to be saved? But if by the finger of Yahuwah that I cast out demons, then the kingdom of Yahuwah has come upon you. When a strong man fully armed guards his own palace, close the doors of your mind. Close the gates of your palace, your ba'ith, your ahal, your ohel, your tent, your mishkan, your mikdash, your hayikal. His goods are safe. That's the whole point. Because Satan coming to what? Steal, kill, and destroy. He coming to take it out of your mind. That's all he's coming to do. But when one stronger than he attacks him, he overcomes him. Amen. That's why he said, many are my foes and my enemies. When you have the Aydah on the inside of you, do you know how many people got to come at you to make you give it up? You know how many tests and trials, you know how many things that Shaitan going to throw at you to give you to give it up? He going to throw everything in the sink. You know how they say the kitchen sink? He going to use everything in his tools to try to get you to give it up. And I can steal it from out of your mind. And you be like Esau, want to kill your brother. Or you be like Yaakov, want to undermine and deceive and practice deceit and do all those things, and you want to practice these things. That's why he said your code come, but Yasharal speak. Don't let the other person speak. Let the second Adam speak. Let the person who got Yaakov's name was changed to Yasharal, let that person speak, the person that he was changed to, because he made changes. Because the other Yasharal, Yaakov won't change. He said, being that they won't change their ways, you got to change your ways in order to speak. But when the stronger than he attacks him and overcomes, he attacks him and overcomes him, he takes away his armor in which he trusted and divides his spoil. That's the whole point. You got to trust Yahuwah. It's better to put your trust in Yahuwah than to put your confidence in Nagid, to put your confidence in Adam. Right, this is the book of Yaakov, James 3:13-18. Who is wise and understanding among you? By his good conduct, let him show his works in meekness and wisdom. But if you have bitter jealousy and selfish ambitions in your heart, do not boast and be false to the truth. Don't. Guess what he says? This wisdom that comes from above, this is not wisdom that comes from above, but it's earthly, unspiritual, and demonic. For where jealousy and selfish ambitions exist, there will be disorder in every vile practice. But wisdom, chokmah, from above is first pure, tahor, then shalom, peaceable, gentle, anu, open to reason, yakab, don't bear no grudge against nobody, even though they supplanted you and they stole everything from you, and then now they mocking you after they stole it, and then trying to provoke you and trying to make you get to the point where you want to just slay somebody or do something to somebody. He said, don't do that. He said, yakab them. Reason with them. Full of mercy and good fruits. That's what good fruits are. Impartial and sincere. A harvest of righteousness is sown in peace by those who make shalom. So how you make peace? You destroy the wicked. I'm going to make peace. You got to destroy wickedness. Yeshayahu 48:22. There is no shalom, says Yahuwah, for the wicked. In order to make peace, you got to get rid of wickedness. Right, this is, going back to the Testament of Shalomah. Pseudepigrapha, volume 1. Chapter 4, chapter 3 and verse 6. Chapter 3 and verse 6. Then I interrogated him and said, tell me who you are. The demon said, I am Beelzebub, the ruler of the demons. And I demanded without interruption, he sit next to me and explain the manifestations of the demons. Then he promised to bring me all the unclean spirits bound. Again, I go Kabod Elohim of Shamayim, earth, continually giving thanks to him. So what did he say? Verse chapter 4. I now asked the demon if there were any female demons. When he replied that there were, I said that I wanted to see one. And Beelzebub went off and showed me Chdsh, who had a very beautiful form, and her body was that of a woman, with a fair complexion, but her legs were those of a mule. And when she came to me, I said to her, "Tell me who you are." She responded, "My name is Chdsh. I am a spirit which has been made into a body. I recline in the den of the earth, and I make my home in caves. However, I have a many-sided character. Sometimes I strangle men. Sometimes I pervert them from their true natures. Most of the time, my habits are cliffs and caves and ravines, and frequently natures. Most of the time, my inhabitants are cliffs and caves and ravines. Frequently, I also associate with men who think of me as a woman, especially with those whose skin is honey-colored, for we are of the same constellation. It is also true that they worship my star secretly and openly, and they do know that they deceive themselves and excite me to be an evildoer all the more. For they want to obtain gold by remembering me. But I grant little to those who seriously worship me." Next, he says, so why you did all that? Because all this is important. This is Psalms 146 and 1 through 7. Praise Yahuwah, O my nefesh, my soul. I praise Yahuwah as long as I live. I will sing praises to my Elohim while I have my being. Put no trust in princes, in a prince or in the son of Adam, no Nagid and no Adam, in whom there is no salvation. When his breath departs, he returns to the earth, and on that very day his plans perish. Asher, or happy, is he whose help is Elohim of Yaakov, whose hope is in Yahuwah, his Elohim, who made Shamayim and the Arats, the sea and all that is in them, who keeps the moon forever, who executes justice to the oppressed, who gives food to the hungry, who gives food to the hungry, who gives food to the hungry, and sets the prisoners free. Yahuwah opens the eyes of the blind. Yahuwah lifts up those who are bowed down. Yahuwah loves the righteous. Yahuwah watches over the sojourners. He upholds the widow and the fatherless, but the way of the wicked he brings to ruin. That's the whole point. Yahuwah reigns forever. Your Elohim, O Saon, to all generations. Praise Yahuwah. Right? So this is Psalms 32, 6 through 9. Therefore, let everyone who is conceived offer prayer in the time he may be found. Surely in the rush of great waters, they shall not reach him. You are a hiding place for me. You preserve me from trouble. You surround me with shouts of deliverance. I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go, and I will counsel you with my eyes upon you. Do not be like the horse and the mule without understanding, because if you do, you're going to practice in the very things that you should not practice, which must be curbed with bits and bridle, and will not stay near you, right? So that word for Chesed is godly. We talked about the godly has perished in Zechariah. So when they do perish inside of you, when that kindness and righteousness and faithfulness and that godly person, that person that's going to be inside of you perishes, when you don't even believe you're Elohim anymore, you know what happens to you? You lose your kindness. You turn into a whole other being. Matter of fact, you turn into that woman right there. You be like, man, I'm with a woman with the constellations. Which we are. But at the same time, that'll be your God, your Elohim. These are all a part of you be drawn to worship the stars, sun, moon, and stars. When you see your eyes, you lift your eyes to it, like Deuteronomy, I believe, chapter 4 says. You lift up your eyes and you'll be drawn to worship him. You'll transform yourself by the renewing of your mind, by the worship of the Ursa Major, Ursa Minor. By renewing of your mind, you start worshiping all the hosts of the Shamayims. Ephesians chapter 4, 29 to 32. Let no corrupt talk come out of your mouths, right? Watch what you say. If you can't say it, if you're going to say it, he said, make sure you can take the punishment. But only such as good as building up. Why? Because everybody needs to know. As fits the occasion, that it may give con to those who hear. And do not grieve the Kudash Ruach of Yahuwah, by whom you are sealed to the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and slander be put away from you, or you'll be an adulterous bellied woman. Adulterous bellied man. You're an adulteress. You'll be an adulteress. Along with all malice, you'll be an adulteress. Be kind one to another, or you'll be an adulteress. You won't be God. You won't be Kassid anymore. And guess Kassid will perish out of you. Tender-hearted, forgiving one another, as Yahushua Mashiach as Yahuwah in Yahushua Mashiach forgave you. This is Hebrews 12, 13 through 15. Therefore, lift up your drooping hands and strengthen your weak knees, and make straight paths for your feet, so that what is lame may not be put out of joint, but rather be healed. Strive for peace with everyone. Shalom. For Kudash, without which no one will see Yahuwah. See that to it that no one fails to obtain the con of Yahuwah, that no root of bitterness spring up and cause trouble. He said it's going to spring up right now. It's summertime. That root of bitterness, if it's in there, I assure you, it's going to spring up. By it, many become defiled. He said you're going to become defiled if it do spring up. This is your code, James. We already did that, but at the same time, why I put that? Why I put it again? Oh yeah, 3 and 18. The harvest of righteousness is sown in peace, and by those who make shalom. That's why. Because you need to sow. You need to sow shalom, and you got to make shalom. You got to make it. If you don't make anything. If you don't make anything, or no cakes or nothing, if you don't even know how to make anything, how are you going to make shalom with anybody? Right, so this is Psalm 37, 7 through 11. Be still before Yahuwah and wait patiently for him. Fret not yourself, or Korah, not yourself over the one who prospers in the way. Don't get angry. He stole my Barak. He stole it. Over the man who carries out evil devices, he's your cove. He's the evil person. He's a deceiver. He underhand. He a trick. He tricked me. Oh, Father, give me a Barak too, please. You know, evil device he did. That was all evil they did. Refrain from anger. And what happened to Esau? And forsake wrath. He didn't. Fret not yourself. It tends only to evil. They do. For evildoers shall be cut off. But the one who waits for Yahuwah shall inherit the Aydah. Now he said, you should have waited. But you know, when you try to take it in your own hands, you want to kill somebody. You want to take somebody out. You got to wait for Yahuwah. You renew your strength. Because you're getting faint and you're exhausted. You're going to despise your birthright. In just a little while, the wicked will be no more. Though you look carefully at his place, he will not be there. But the meek, the Anu, shall inherit the Aydah and delight themselves in the abundance of shalom, if you make shalom. Right, so that word for fret is kara. It means to be hot, to burn, to be angry, kindled, to be instant, to heat oneself in vexation, to burn, to glow and grow warm, to blaze up in anger, zeal, and jealousy, to be grieved, to be wax hot, to be wroth. That's a couple of jealousy. He said, man, that man got jealous. Kina. Right, so that word for meek is Anu. It means to be poor, humble, and afflicted. They're going to inherit the Aydah, the meek. And these are all a part of it, right? So this is Nazarene Asher Shalakim, how demons get power over men, women, and children. Therefore, demons, as we have just said, when once they are able by means of opportunities afforded them to convey themselves with base and evil actions in the bodies of men, women, and children, if they remain in them a long time through their own negligence, so we just read all them things, he casting out demons, but they all was in there because of their own negligence, because they weren't seeking after what was profitable for their inner being, and they weren't fasting, they weren't doing the things they needed to do, and they were worshiping demons, and they were unclean. They would dwell in unclean places, and they ain't do nothing around, they ain't clean nothing around where they live. The only thing you're doing is channeling demons if you don't do it. You're channeling the unclean spirits. That's all you're doing. You're just channeling unclean spirits. That's why people who have clean houses have peaceful houses. Because he cleaned all the demons out of it. Because demons hide in every corner of your house. They just sit there and watch you. See what you're going to do. Are you going to clean it? They're just going to sit there. And they're going to stay there too. Until one comes in and says, and cleans the house. That's Yahushua Mashiach. And what did he do? They go to Nakalal Kudrum. Throw that in there. Matter of fact, get that trash out of here. But he said, if they remain in them a long time through their own negligence, that's what happens to you in your own household, physically, in your physical house. Demons love unclean houses. Same thing in your body. And your own negligence is your own laziness, because you don't want to do anything. And therefore, because they do not seek after what is profitable for their inner beings, the same way in your inner man, the same for your real house. You dwell inside. Two becoming one. Why do you think he made Adam a living soul, and then he made the second Adam a speaking ruach? He said, Yaakov come and Yasharal speak. He changed Yaakov's name to Yasharal for a reason, because that's the second part of himself. Because they do not seek after what is profitable in the being, their necessity compel them in the future to fulfill the desires of the demons that dwell in them. That's all they're going to do. Them Shadim got desires, the very same way you got desires. So you got your own desires, and then the demon comes in and his desires come competing with your desires that you already have inside of you. That's why a lot of people got all these different things going on. They be like, man, why that person went from this to this to that? Because they got two different beings. The being, you got your being, and you got like 8 different other demons inside of you. And then you got them demons fighting against what they want to do. I want to drink. I want to smoke. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to go here. I want to go to my husband. No, I want to go here. I want to commit adultery. I want to fornicate. I don't want to go back to my household. I don't want to go do this. I want to go to the club. I don't want to go to the club. I want to sit home. You got all these different desires inside of you. You be like, what's going on? They all competing against each other to try who's going to get the throne first. Who can get the throne next? Then the other person get in the way, then that person gets the wrath of your war that you got on the inside of you. This is why you got to kill. This is why you put to death what is earthly inside of you. Once you put to death what's earthly inside of you, then these things won't dwell inside of you no more. But what is worst of all, at the end of the age, right, when the demon is co-signed to ageless fire, of necessity, the Ruach also that obeyed him, right, it doesn't matter, man, woman, child, will with him be tortured in ageless fire. And then when he summoned Beelzebub to Testament of Shalom, Beelzebub said, it was like fire, man. It hit and broke open on my body. It was just like fire. And guess what? Yahuwah going to interrogate him. What did you do inside of the body of that woman? What did you do inside of the body of that man? What did you do inside of the body of that child? I did this. Did they obey you? Yes, and I had a great time. Then you too will be thrown into the fire after your life is over. Also, they that obeyed him will with him be tortured in ageless fires with his body it has polluted, because you polluted. I told you that stuff can't come in Yerushalayim and be like, man, I'm finna come in there with Beelzebub inside of me. I'm finna come in there with Mastama inside of me. Oh, dog, I'm gonna trick some people. I'm gonna come in there with the underhanded ways and deceive somebody. I'm gonna get in Yerushalayim. He said, all right, Yahuwah, I already did that already. I already had Shaitan in here. I had to kick his behind out. I already had all these people in here already did that. You're not coming in here with that. He's not going to let you in. He's going to see you. Right? This is Yuchanan chapter 1, 2, 24 to 28. Let what you heard from the beginning abide in you. Who can declare the things at the first? Who can declare those things at the first? Let him bring forth your witnesses. If you have heard from the beginning, if what you heard from the beginning abides in you, then you too will abide in the Son, the life of the house, and the Father, the strength of the house. This is the promise he has made to us, eternal life. I'm writing these things about those who are trying to deceive you. But the anointing you receive from him abides in you, and you have no need that anyone should teach you. But as his anointing teaches you about everything, it is true, it is no lie, just as it is taught you, abide in him. And now little children abide in him, so that when he appears, you may have confidence. You may have confidence. That's what batak is. It means to put your trust in Yahuwah. You may have confidence, not to shrink from him in shame at his coming. Why? Because you did something wrong to somebody. You did something evil. Sirach 3, 17 to 23. My son and daughter, go on thy business that ain't new. So shall you be beloved of him that is approved. The greater thou art, the more humble thyself, and thou shalt find favor before Yahuwah. Many are in high places of renown, but mysteries are revealed unto the Aynu, the meek. For the power of Yahuwah is great and armed with the lowly. Seek not out things that are too hard for thee, neither search for things that are above thy strength. For what is commanded thee, think thereupon with reverence. For it is not needful for thee to see with thine eyes the things that are in secret. Be not curious in unnecessary matters, for more things are showed unto thee than men and women understand. Right, so you don't want to seek out things that are hard for thee, that are above thy strength. You don't want to seek out for Beelzebub. You don't want to seek after Mustama. You don't want to seek after Shaitan. They're going to overcome your mind. You don't want to seek after this Thirax. You don't want to seek after Asmodeus. Somebody might die. You want to seek after Yahuwah. Because all these are a part of things that are above your strength. They're going to overpower you and take over your body. So as we move forward in the likeness and image of Yahuwah Elohim. For Yahuwah Elohim created man and Adam in his own image and likeness. Gave him authority over the fish, the sea, fowl, every creeping thing, over all the earth, and over the Tahanim. And gave him an understanding and a speaking ruach, that one may walk in righteousness and purity of mind and purity of thought, and not to live according to the old self, but the new self. So we allow the old self to die, that the new self may be renewed in the image and likeness of his creator. For the meek shall inherit the earth. The Aynu shall inherit the Eras.